exceeding 100,000 fans are here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. On the racetrack right now, Frank Kimmel accepting the checkered flag in the ARCA event that just concludes, and we're just about 19 minutes away from the start of NASCAR's All-Star Weekend. The Winston Open with $32,000 on the line for the winner and a free pass to the Winston, and then the Winston itself. 30 laps, and then the 10-lap final shootout for $200,000. And we're so happy that you're with us here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on TNN Motorsports. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Welcome to a bit of a humid, muggy evening here in Charlotte, but it is a great night for racing. There you see the rules that we'll be talking more about as the evening continues, because, as per usual, things are just a little bit different in the Winston. Buddy Baker and Dr. Dick Bergman joining us here today. And fellas, as we know, one thing you always do is favor the NASCAR Winston Cup point leader in any event. Heck, the guy's having a good year, but you know that right now the Winston Cup point leader for the first time ever is yet to qualify for the Winston. Jeremy Mayfield is consistent, but he's never picked up that first Winston Cup win that would get him in automatically to the starting field. What does he think about it? Let's go to the garage area and find out.
You know what I think? I think he's a little nervous. Not nervous in the dreading this, but he just wants to get going. Jeremy, we're talking about that. You're the first Winston Cup points leader to not qualify for the Winston. I got an idea you're going to do something about that here real soon.
Man, we're going to try hard. That's what we're really excited about coming here tonight, and you know, especially after last night. We know we got a good race car, and just kind of fine-tuned it today a little bit, so hopefully we'll be just as good or better tonight than we were last night.
Now, you're not guilty of over-engineering that thing today, are you?
I hope not. That's what I'm a little bit nervous about. But no, we really didn't change a lot. We just done a little bit on the shocks and stuff like that we wish we'd have done last night. So just small things.
I tell you what, if they think they can make that thing better than it was last night, I pity the rest of these guys. He's getting ready to go. He visited victory lane for the first time last night in a Winston Cup car. He wants to go back.
He won the No Bull 25, as did Jimmy Spencer. 2 races last night, and we talk about consistency. Those are the numbers for Jeremy Mayfield and the Mobile 1 Ford Taurus. Now, again, past point leaders have had a good history, Buddy Baker, in this race, but again, it's not the end-all and be-all, is it?
Not everything, but let me tell you, out of the 13 times that the Winston's run, 7 times the guy went on to win the championship. That's pretty good odds.
You know, one thing that's very interesting, normally at the Winston, you'll use a disposable race car. It's a non-points race. If it gets used up, well, it gets used up. Dick Bergman, interestingly, this weekend, more new equipment in the garage than old throwaway stuff.
The garage is absolutely full of new cars, and what they're doing down there is trying a bunch of stuff. This is a bonsai race, so the mechanics have tried some different things tonight to try to make the car go as fast as possible. It's a non-points race. Hey, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, you could win the Winston.
Now, one thing that happened last night, while it's good for some, not good for others. Jeremy Mayfield had a great night. Kenny Schrader did not. Let's take them one at a time. Jeremy Mayfield going basically wire to wire last night, and his season has been an awfully good one. The climb up the NASCAR Winston Cup ladder for the Owensboro, Kentucky native began in 1993 when Earl Sadler got him a race car. But here in 1998, the stakes and the name are just a bit bigger. Jeremy Mayfield at Daytona battled with Bobby Labonte and race winner Dale Earnhardt. Mayfield came home a most respectable third. He was only 20 points out of the point lead as the year began. Then on to Las Vegas, where everybody was casting their bets. Would the Fords do the job again? Well, certainly Mayfield's Ford would, as he powered his way around the low side of the racetrack, as he did at Atlanta, to continue his run through the standings. A third-place finish in the Prime Star 500, and all of a sudden, Jeremy Mayfield was second in points, only 49 out of the lead. At Darlington, though, the story was different. He had to deal with a good race car that was pitting on the back straightaway, but he got some help. Randy LaJoie spun the Budweiser Chevrolet. That gave Mayfield a chance to make a late pit stop. And with a strong performance by the team, a 4th-place finish was his in the Trans-South 400 at Darlington. And Mayfield remained in 2nd spot in the points. Then the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia on a Monday morning. Short tracks are the man's roots, and he showed that patience can pay off. Martinsville yielded a 7th place finish, keeping Mayfield in 2nd in the points. Then on to Talladega and eventually California, and here to Charlotte, where he now leads the Winston Cup point standings. And take a look at the Haviland point standings right now. That 36-point edge. You realize, interesting note about Jeremy Mayfield, only the 2nd time ever that a man has led the NASCAR Winston Cup points this deep into the season without ever having a career victory. Joe Ruttman, the last man to do it back in 1983 in the Levi Garrett car with Buddy Parrott as his crew chief. That happened after the 2nd race of the season. This is a little bit deeper into the year and a good run for Jeremy Mayfield. Great run last night also for Jimmy Spencer in the 2nd of the No Bull 25 qualifiers. He won it, took the checkered flag, and starts outside of row 1 in the Winston Open today. Let's hear from Mr. Excitement.
Eli, a dominant race for Jimmy Spencer last night. As powerful as Jeremy Mayfield was in his race, Jimmy, boy, you got a fast car here tonight.
We hope so, Steve. I'll tell you, Jeremy's not going to be any piece of cake by any means. The car's been running good all year long, and let's not count out Johnny Benson and Ward Burton. And there's only one guy goes into this race. I like this format. I think we have an opportunity. We feel confident with the No Bull car, and we'll see here in about 45 minutes, I guess. Maybe a little less than that.
Jimmy, we were just talking, one of the greatest races I've ever seen at the Speedway last October, you and Mark Martin, so you know you can get the job done here.
Yeah, you know, we did have a good run last year, the Chevrolet, the Zippo car, and we did beat Mark. And, you know, we tried a lot of things last night. Today is a little bit different than last night. We raced under the dark, so to speak, and it was cooler. Track was cooler. We adjusted our car for that. So we're hoping that the adjustments we made will make us a little bit better. Jeremy, I don't think made any adjustments on his car either. So it's going to be a heck of a race, you know. And I'll tell you something, I've been watching this thing, and I watched those 3 guys stand up there in that tower with them white shirts on. I mean, I can't believe they can keep them that clean.
All right, Jimmy, we'll check back in with them, but first let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, thanks, Steve. Last night, Pimco and Miscue proved costly for the 33 team. They dropped the jack, damaging the car, forcing them to go to a backup. Kenny, the good news, the backup seems to be a little bit faster than the primary.
Yeah, we were kind of struggling with the primary, but the Skull car we unloaded is running good. So, man, it's a long way to go, you know, 28. But we're going to give it a good try.
Nobody's better at a Saturday night shootout than you. Can you get to the front?
We get close. Now, we're sure going to try out hard. I only want to say one thing, though. Really want to let everybody know we're really thinking about Leonard Wood tonight, you know, because it's a rough night for him a year ago and lost his wife. And hope they have a good night with their car, but be nice to be in that Winston with them.
Well, I think everybody thinks that. Eli?
Certainly a very kind thought, as a year ago on the way home from this race, Leonard's wife, Betty May, was killed in an accident on the highway. And indeed, everybody's been sharing an extra moment or so with Leonard and the entire Wood Brothers family here this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. There come the cars now being pushed out onto the pit road as we're about set to start the Winston Open. How did everybody advance into this race by virtue of action last night? Let's take a look back. One night ago, Jeremy Mayfield started on the pole in the first of the No Bull 25s, and Buddy Baker, I think everybody kind of saw it coming. Nobody touched him.
Well, every time they looked like Johnny Benson was closing in a little bit, look what a tremendous lead he has there. Jeremy Mayfield takes his first ever checkered flag under NASCAR rules.
And a very, very happy Jeremy Mayfield. And again, it wasn't a point race, but it does earn them the starting spot that everyone covets here, the pole, because, Dick Bergman, you've got to think that realistically, 50 laps tonight with the winner only advancing as we look at the start of the second race last night. If you're starting too far back, you're done before you start.
Yeah, you may well be, but don't tell that to the guys in the back of the pack, because not one of them thinks they don't have a shot at this thing tonight, including Kenny Schrader. Going to see here what happened last night with his pit stop. See, the tire went on, but it didn't get the lug nuts on, and as a result, off it came. Schrader's going to be running a backup car, starting in the back of the pack.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer took that Winston No Bull car to the front, and he will share the front row with Jeremy Mayfield as the Winston Open begins in just a few moments here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. You know, there might be something about Jimmy Spencer's chances. For those of you who were in Daytona Beach during February Speed Weeks, you may remember the qualifying race they had for the Bud Shootout, the old Busch Clash. And who won that one but Jimmy Spencer? Is there something to running and winning these short races, buddy?
Jimmy Spencer, let me tell you, that's like taking a bone from a pit bull, trying to win over Jimmy Spencer. And these types of races really suit his driving style. I think he's one of the most aggressive drivers out there.
One guy we've not yet mentioned is Mark Martin. If you want to go by the numbers, folks, and Dick, you know it well, he's been quick all day today.
Yeah, he really has. Mark has been incredibly strong throughout practice. He's got a new race car here tonight. It is a copy of the car that he has won 3 races with this year. A lot of people say Mark Martin in that number 6 is the man to beat.
Well, we will all find out together as the Winston Open is just about set to go. Then the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race. It's all live here on TNN Motorsports, and we're so happy you're with us. It's a busy, busy month of May, and we're here tonight to kick it off with the all-star festivities, the Winston. Next. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, is being brought to you by Texaco. Texaco, a world of energy. By the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. And by First Plus Financial. At First Plus, you don't need equity, you just need a home. The Winston and the Winston Open just a few moments away. We are running just a few moments tardy here at Charlotte because the ARCA race, of which we spoke earlier, ran a few moments long. They had a few extra caution periods en route to Frank Kimmel's victory. By the way, did you hear about the NASCAR Busch Series race that is being run tomorrow in Nazareth, Pennsylvania? Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on the pole, and Ron Hornaday, who drives a truck normally on the Craftsman Truck Series for Dale Earnhardt. Hornaday is on the outside of the front row. How about that sweep right there?
Well, it puts the pressure on Dale for tonight, doesn't it?
To hold up his end of the
Yeah,
equation.
he better get going tonight.
But yeah, that's coming up tomorrow in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. I thought we'd throw that along here so you'll know how some of your favorites did up there in Nazareth. Buddy Baker, you are the only one in this booth, assuming that our statistician Martha Oliver has never run in this race. You are the only one in this booth who has run the Winston Open. What goes through these guys' minds at this point? Again, you won this event. Is there apprehension? Are they not even saying anything that's going to go out and put the car where they shouldn't? What are they saying?
Let's think about this race just a little bit. There's winners in there. Jimmy Spencer's won at Daytona. He's won at Talladega. All through the field, there's people that have won Winston Cup races. They're not eligible for the Winston unless they win this particular race. One spot out of all those cars out there, a lot of winning drivers, a lot of winning combination, but only one man advances. There's a lot of pressure. I remember it was one of the real highlights of my year in 1987 when I won here, because it really set my team on a thrust forward instead of just being complacent about what we were doing.
Now, you won from a 5th starting spot. How difficult was it for you to get to the front?
Eli, I had a pretty good car, and I went to the outside, took a chance on the outside on the start there, and got a real good jump on everybody, and the race car worked very well. I had a great crew. Everybody says that, but it was true.
We saw Ward Burton. There is Johnny Benson and the Cheerios team. Everybody limbering up, just getting set to go racing here in a very few moments. Tensions beginning to build just a bit. Let's go to pit road.
And Ward Burton is strapping in, just about to get in the car, putting on some heat retardant material. Says, get some kind words from his wife. Ward, how do you feel about tonight's race?
Well, we got a pretty good car. We really got a real good car. I don't know whether we'll get it done tonight. I'm going to do my best. The team's going to do their best. We need to bring this car home in one piece. It's going to be a good car for us next week, but we've learned a lot this weekend, and we got a shot at it. You know, the Fords were really tough last night. We'll just see what happens.
Make any changes this afternoon?
We loosened the car up a little bit from what we were last night. We were real tight last night, and, you know, it's a guessing game, man. When you run out here in the daytime, just some cloud cover coming off of this racetrack will change the racetrack, and when you go from daytime to nighttime racing, it's a big difference. So it's a little bit of guessing going on.
All right, Ward Burton has 3 appearances in the Winston, trying to make it 4.
And this, buddy, is, if I'm not mistaken, even under ideal circumstances, one of the most changeable racetracks on the circuit, isn't it?
And unlike the Winston, they can't come in and adjust these cars. unless they want to go to the back of the field, because this is for green flag to checker, and you don't have time to second guess. You hope you're right when the race starts.
So those are the thoughts from Buddy Baker, who again won this event, the Winston Open, in 1987 from a 5th starting spot. I guess we should mention you also finished 18th in the Winston that night.
I wasn't going to talk about it.
Equal time to the other guys, but it was a transmission problem. It was not a problem that you had, as I remember.
Oh, yeah, I had them right where I wanted them, Eli, but then the transmission went out. Now, I don't think I'd really advanced that much. That was a pretty tough field, and Bill Elliott and Earnhardt made that such a memorable race, the Winston, that year.
Again, taking a look at what's in store here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway this evening. The Winston Open, 50 laps. The winner only advances to the Winston. After segment 1 of the 30 laps of the Winston, they'll bring out this big roulette wheel. They'll spin it, and that number that comes up at the top will determine how many teams will have their starting spot inverted for the second segment. Then after the second segment, if you choose, you can make a pit stop, take on new tires, but you'll give up your track position. Now trackside, Warner Brothers recording artist Anita Cochran on hand here, and we're so happy to have her at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. She will sing the national anthem to this crowd of over 100,000 and the nationwide TV audience. Anita Cochran. Out of Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro, North Carolina. We're just a few moments away from the start of the Winston. And the Winston Open will precede all of the activities. We'll also remind you that right now you can log on to country.com. That is your online source for country stars and stock cars. You can see all of the in-car action from the Winston by going to the motorsports section of country.com. And while you're there, you might want to reserve your access to the in-car simulcast from the MBNA Platinum 400 at Dover Downs International Speedway on May the 31st. All of that made possible by Ford and Goodyear. Right now, all the drivers climbing aboard their race cars. The command to fire engines just around the corner. And we are so happy that you're with us here on TNN Motorsports. Kyle Petty says, I've got to get to the front. And Mike Skinner thinks the same. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, is being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. The engines have just fired here for the Winston Open, the preliminary race to the Winston, as we all celebrate the 50th anniversary of NASCAR on this special night here. All of those condominiums you see are filled, and well, yeah, the engines are noisy at times, but That young lady's never going to forget this experience, as will neither these three old guys up here in the booth. This is always a special night.
It really is. Those jets just came back over the top of the racetrack while we were out for commercial, and when they did, this whole crowd rose to their feet and pointed to the sky. This crowd is charged, let me tell you, and this is one of the very few races where the crowd is so loud the drivers can hear it above the engines.
Yep, we've heard that from many of the drivers in the garage area. There you see the 50, the Budweiser Chevy. That's Wally Dallenbach this weekend, filling in for Randy LaJoy, who was filling in for Ricky Craven. Ricky's been injured. Randy LaJoy has been the substitute driver, doing superbly in that car. But right now, Randy is in Nazareth, Pennsylvania with the FINA team, where they'll be running the first Union 200 up in Nazareth, Pennsylvania tomorrow. So hence Wally Dallenbach aboard that Budweiser Chevy. The field begins to roll. The green flag when we come back. Field now beginning to wrap up the first of its warm-up laps, the parade laps. Look at all those flash bulbs popping in the grandstand as we take a look at the starting grid. We've mentioned already Jeremy Mayfield winning the first of the No Bull 25 qualifiers last night, and Jimmy Spencer winning the second of the qualifiers. He won this event in 1996, the Winston Open. Johnny Benson and Ward Burton, who was fifth in 94. Mike Skinner and Joe Nemechek. New paint scheme for Mike Skinner here this weekend, as is the case for many of the drivers. Wally Dallenbach again in the Budweiser Chevy, alongside the veteran Dick Trickle, who won this event in 1990. Kyle Petty and Hut Strickland. There together on row number 5, Chad Little, who was fourth in the 97 running of the Open, and the Gumout Pontiac. They've been running pretty well here this weekend, Derek Cole has. Brett Bodine, different paint look on the Paychecks Ford, and David Green in the Caterpillar Chevrolet in his second Winston Open. Morgan Shepard in the first Union Chevrolet, and Todd Bodine, who won the Winston Open for Butch Mock Motorsports back in 1995. Robert Presley, and you know, guys, you can't ever count out Lake Speed. He's always tough in these kind of events.
Especially this thing. He has done incredibly well in the Open. The only thing he hasn't done is win it.
Indeed so. There you see Kevin LePage, the veteran from Shelburne, Vermont. Gary Bradbury and Andy Hillenberg with their problems on Hillenberg's car. We'll update you in a moment as he pulled away from pit road. They found a problem. We'll talk more in a second. Veteran Steve Grissom, who was second a year ago, and Ted Musgrave. Canadian Randy McDonald and Billy Standridge in his third Winston Open. Jerry Nadeau and the backup car for Ken Schrader after the problems of yesterday. Then Dave Marcus and Rick Mast bringing up the field. Mast losing an engine in the qualifying event here last night. As mentioned, Andy Hillenberg has a problem on his car. There you see they've already turned him in behind the wall where he was lined up and parked on pit road before they even fired the engines. Looked like all the oil, Steve, must have drained from that race car.
Eli, that's exactly right. You've got 4 or 5 different crewmen out here trying to sweep up the speedy dry that they've thrown on top of it to try and get the surface dried up. You know, that's not a good mixture there, oil and pavement. But tough break for Andy Hillenberg. They pushed him into the garage area. He has many laps on this racetrack, although not in Winston Cup competition. He's the owner of a driving school right across the street from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but cannot get it cranked here at the beginning tonight.
And doesn't that say something about NASCAR? You got guys from Lake Speed's crew down there, guys in the Morgan Shepherd crew, NASCAR officials. People say, yeah, all that family talk. It really is true when you live and travel the nation with all of these guys.
And they really do live and travel together. And as competitive as they are, once the green flag drops, if any one of them needs any help at all, they are all there to lend a hand.
And they also don't want their car to go through that oil dry and get sideways.
Now let's check out the AutoZone prep for the race. Brought to you more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And there you see the posted monies. Even if you don't win and advance to the Winston, you still have a pretty decent payday. I remember days, Buddy Baker, when you ran regular old races that didn't pay that.
I was just thinking, I won a 600-mile race here and won $22,000 and $32,000 for tonight's 50-lap run. Plus, if it's one of the guys that won last night, he's already won $25,000 coming into this event.
You can see they're still putting more and more Speedy Dry down on the racetrack after Andy Hillenberg did have to make one lap before they called him into the garage area, and he left a steady stream of 76 lubricant around this mile-and-a-half racetrack. So we're going to be a moment or so away from getting this race going. So why don't we take care of a little business while track cleanup continues? The start of the Winston Open, just moments away here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The field has now gotten the one-to-go signal. They have put Speedy Dry all around the racetrack due to the problems from Andy Hillenberg's car. And we're about set to go racing in the Winston Open. 50 laps, 75 miles. Jerry Nadeau will be carrying our onboard cameras here today. And he has a long way to go from back of the field. But we'll watch him slice his way through the pack. Todd Bodine also has cameras for us. Todd, as we mentioned earlier, a former winner of this event when he drove for Butch Mock Motorsports. That was back in 1995. And there is the Budweiser Chevrolet Wally Dallenbach on board this weekend. And he'll take us around the mile-and-a-half Charlotte Motor Speedway as well.
Well, keep with us, but also log on with your computer to country.com. Doesn't cost a thing. You can pick whichever driver you want to watch on the in-car camera. You can also click on some other interesting stuff, including a column by Buddy Baker. I didn't know you were a writer.
Did you see the 50 car, the little green glob up there?
That's Louis the Lizard.
That is Louis the Lizard.
And you know he was making fun of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you wanted to cook him.
Well, as soon as he made fun of you, I said, you're in the pot there, Louis.
Yeah, man.
Green flag is about to be displayed here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Cinch up the seatbelts, folks. Here we go. One driver will advance from this race to the Winston. Jeremy Mayfield just wanted to get a big jump, but he didn't get it.
He didn't get it. Jimmy Spencer fighting back on the outside down the back straightaway. Johnny Benson now with the 12 car. You can see the fire flying out of the car as it bottomed out down the back straightaway of Jeremy. And Spencer comes out with the lead.
Spencer leads. Benson not handling there in the corner. You saw that yellow car, Johnny Benson, go up a bit in the banking. It opened the inside for Ward Burton there in third spot.
Well, it's deja vu last night. That's just what Spencer did. Dove right out front as soon as he possibly could and hung on all the way.
Ward Burton in the 22, the black car in third there, just got by Benson. You see Benson dropping back just a little bit. He may be having a handling problem early in the get-go here.
Mike Skinner with the new look for the Lowe's team here today.
First time back since Texas. He's driving hurt. He's had two big crashes.
Caution.
Oh!
Problems right there. Brett Bodine goes around off turn 4. The Paychecks machine brings out the first caution flag of the evening. Lap number 2.
He's bent front and back.
That's too bad. You know, that kind of says what kind of a year this has been, too, for Brett. It's not been a vintage season.
Eli, I'm looking at the car, though. It does not look to have that much damage. It's mostly just the sheet metal rubbing on the tires. He could come in, maybe not lose a lap and get that car back into contention.
And one of the nicest guys in the garage area, too. Of course, this sport doesn't differentiate between the nice and the not nice. And everybody, for the most part, are a nice bunch. But watch what happens there. Brett in the 11.
Brett on the bottom, right on the white line, coming through the corner, gets into green just a little bit in the 96 there and loses control. Look at everybody behind him. Morgan Shepherd in the 46 squeezes by, heads up driving by.
Lake Speed right there, got to the inside.
And it's only the front of the car, not the front and the back, that got damaged. And it looks minor. He is on pit road now. They're going to try to fix it.
Now let's mention yellow flag laps do count in this race. This is just like a normal NASCAR Winston Cup race as far as rules are concerned. Then you saw Skinner make the move around Benson and behind them the spin for Brett Bodine. And if you're curious, we've shown you Mike Skinner's car a few times up close as we watched Brett break loose again. Skinner just pulled away and saw all of this in the back of his rear view mirror. But good to see Mike back after missing those 3 races.
Brett was trying to do the right thing. He realized he was going to get into David Green's car, and he jerked the car, and that's what spun him out.
Matt Yoakum was in that Brett Bodine pit.
Eli, the 11 car, just pulled out of his pit box. Some damage to the right front bodywork, the fascia. bent in. He looks like he's probably going to come back in for more work. They used the Roush roller on the car to try to pull the fender out a little bit, but there is damage to the right front.
Matt, let's talk a little bit too, and Glenn, you can, about the Cheerios team, and talk about that Roush roller as well for a lot of folks who are new to NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Glenn, why don't you cover both aspects there?
Okay, well, one of the things let's cover first is Buddy Baker. You're exactly right. Watching Johnny Benson on the racetrack, he does have a problem. The car is extremely loose, and that is not what you want to hear the first couple laps of the race. Now, the roller, I wasn't in the pit, but I'm assuming, Eli, that you're talking about that. They used to use softball bats. In fact, some of them still do. But one of the guys that worked for Roush invented this little roller thing where they put it up between the wheel and the fender. He takes off, rolls the car. It pushes the fender out, gets that fender off of the tire, stops the rubbing, and allow him to go on. Now, while we're talking about the guys with problems, I went over and asked Paul Andrews if Jeremy Mayfield had a problem because Spencer was able to get by him so easily. Remember, we told you there was oil down in turn 1. Jeremy was a little concerned about that. The car did indeed get a little loose on the first lap when he went in there. And then as Spencer pulled up beside him going down the backstretch, he basically took Jeremy's line away from him, entering in the corner. He was already a little loose, so Jeremy just had to back out, let him go, but they think he's okay.
So we'll all find out as this evening rolls on. And again, these caution laps do count here in the Winston Open. Riding with Todd Bodine, and he had a good view of what happened to his brother.
David Green did a super job of not losing control of the 96 car when he got hit on the left rear corner also.
And so did Morgan driving through there in the 46.
So the first caution wraps up now. Green is in the air as Jimmy Spencer leads him back to the stripe here in the Winston Open.
Look at this, 3 wide going down into turn 1. Joe Nemechek in the 42 there got a jump on the 50 car coming down the front straightaway and trying to make the move, but he's on the outside. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off.
Wally Dahlman back in the 50, gets right back to the inside right there, does hold that position.
We saw some more sparks there in the first turn area, and you're going to see that. You'll see less of it as the race unfolds and the fuel loads lighten up. But the cars are set up so that they run so close to the ground that they will actually, upon occasion, bottom, and that's the sparking.
You know, it's really there during the daytime, but at nighttime you can actually see the sparks flying. It really emphasizes any time you bottom out at all with your exhaust pipe or anything, usually that spark does not mean anything desperate happening to the car.
That's 6th place on your screen. Nemechek grabs it. Dallenbach is back to 7th. Hunt Strickland is 8th. If you're a fan of Brett Bodine, he's back on pit road. Still a tire rub. Meanwhile, you're looking at 12th place right there. Morgan Shepherd and the rest from that point on back. David Green, Derek Pope in that mix. That's 12th place on your screen. And for the lead, Jeremy Mayfield off turn 2.
Boy, he made that move look pretty easy, but you see Spencer fighting back on the outside, but look at Ward Burton coming on the bottom. Spencer really drives that car deep in the corner. You can see 3 wide as they start off the corner.
Well, this is why the crowd's excited. Let me just tell you what. Lead swapping around.
Spencer hangs on to the advantage, and it's going to cost Mayfield a spot.
And Mike Skinner now is trying to get a position on Jeremy Mayfield, and looks like he's going to make the pass coming off turn 2.
Skinner is in that white and blue car, painted up with the colors of the Special Olympic World Games that are sponsored by Lowe's, his primary sponsor, and that's one of the new paint schemes here tonight.
Boy, getting beat up so bad as he has gotten beaten up sure has not slowed Mike Skinner down at all.
Joe Nemechek in the 42 there trying to put Mayfield another spot back. This is desperation time. There's only one car going to advance into the Western. They have to make a move pretty quick.
9 laps are complete of 50. This race really over before you know it.
Nemechek in the 42 on the bottom is fast.
The folks at Napa bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring across the top of the screen. At Napa, we keep America running.
Well, I tell you, it don't take very long for a person to drift back through the field. Mayfield was leading this race just a few laps ago, and we have a fight for the lead. Here comes Ward Burton alongside Jimmy Spencer going into turn 3.
The Pontiac inside of the Taurus. And here comes Ward with the lead as Spencer goes high off the corner. So the new leader is Ward Burton. There's Kenny Schrader now with a 33 car. He's running with Lake Speed and the rest of that pack. 35 there, Todd Bodine. 77, Robert Presley. That's 18th on back.
And Todd Bodine did a great run off the corner on that high line. He never backed off. The second group is really coming in. The high line is not that bad. Robert Presley in the 77 right now. Taking a look. Oh, they are so close, as you can see.
It was a look by Braille is what that was.
12 laps complete of 50.
Oh, man.
Schrader and Lake
Schrader
Speed
is
again.
running. Let me tell you what, Schrader is flying, and that's a backup car. They haven't had much opportunity to try that. Look at this race for third.
Right, Mayfield just outguns Skinner up into turn number 3.
Well, he knows he has to get a move on here. Jeremy got caught on the outside groove there and was not able to keep momentum. Now he's worked his way back by the 31 there, Skinner, and looks like he's drawing in on Jimmy Spencer running second.
Glenn Jarrett, what are you hearing from Paul Andrews and Jeremy's team?
Well, Eli, when Jeremy got shuffled back on the outside, I went up and asked Paul, I said, your car is much better on the inside. And he said, absolutely. He said, we got to get back down. We just have to let those cars go by him. When he made that run for the lead, remember, he made it on the inside. As long as Jeremy's on the inside of the racetrack, he is fine. They've got enough stuff to get back to the front.
Just as Glenn said, you can see he's right up there, but there's a great race right here. Mike Skinner right now and Joe Nemechek are fighting it out just behind the lead 3, and it looks to me like they're running very, very quick around the base of the racetrack. That white line there is the distinction between the flat part of the track and the bank part, so they're running right on the bottom.
Well, Nemechek keeps looking at the bottom. He's not getting anything done down there, but he keeps looking down there, and eventually he is going to be able to make his move if Hut Strickland, who's running behind him, doesn't get him first.
Meanwhile, up front, Ward Burton by 0.4 of a second leads Jimmy Spencer and Jeremy Mayfield. That's the kind of tension you have in the Winston Open. Motorsports live coverage of the Winston NASCAR's All-Star Weekend in Charlotte is being brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by the Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That is 7th place on your screen. Mike Skinner and Johnny Benson behind the race leader, Ward Burton. Again, if you're new to this special format, this is a one-winner take-all. No holds barred. The winner only advances to the main event. Very much like one of your heat races or contests at home at your local NASCAR Winston Racing Series short track. One winner only advances to the Winston, the All-Star race. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, Steve Burns on hand here at Charlotte. There's Ted Musgrave grabbing 16th. And the man with whom we're riding, Wally Dobbenbach, now begins to backslide just a bit.
Wally seems to be having some handling problems. He's not able to keep the car really, really quick in the center part of the corner. You see it washing up the racetrack here. He's all the way out on the wide side of the racetrack. Cannot hold it low.
And that's one of the new cars as well.
And there you see Jeremy Mayfield. He now works that low side, the inside of the racetrack, closing in on Ward.
Boy, that car is a rocket ship, Eli, of the 12 there, Mayfield. You can see coming off the corner, he's closed in about 2 car lengths. Right there is his strong suit. And you can see Ward Burton getting sideways coming out of the corner.
Mayfield's working him. He's going to get right on his back bumper and try to get that car sideways and get underneath him. Watch it.
The rundown across the top of the screen. NASCAR scoring brought to you by MCI. 10-3-2-1. Just dial it and save up to 50%. Going around, Randy McDonald in the B. Dixon-owned number 85. If you're a Brett Bodine fan, he's gone to the garage. Morgan Shepherd made an unscheduled stop, and here goes Jeremy Mayfield.
You can see Ward Burton getting sideways there. He does not want that Ford right up under the Pontiac. It's a little bit loose coming off the corner. Jeremy Mayfield takes the lead.
So lap number 24 will will be the official change there, but Ward Burton's not finished.
Touche. I'll get right up under you. Making a move down the back straightaway into 3.
This is one of Ward Burton's best runs all year. Great run for Ward Burton with Bill Davis. Car owner. Oh, he just got right back in the lead again, didn't he?
So Howard his way through, and again, only the winner advances, Glenn.
Oh, that's exactly right, and they don't want to give up any position on the racetrack. I just asked Bill Davis if the car were loose, and he said, yeah, you could see him. Ward saw the steering wheel turn it sideways off the corner, but he does not like the Jeremy to be up under him. But even worse than that, he doesn't like the Jeremy to be in front of him, so he's going to try to hold him off. Remember, all in the pre-race show, everybody's talking about it's a guessing game, it's a guessing game. We're hearing a lot of guys yell about the cars being loose, loose, loose. Well, they're the guys that guessed wrong.
And, of course, that's something they've dealt with over the years because the Winston has been practiced during the day and run at night since 1992. So this is something they've been dealing with now for a number of years.
Here comes Jeremy again, giving him a look on the inside. Ward Burton leading the race in this black 22 down the back straightaway. They look very, very even as far as I'm concerned through the corners.
And there goes Ted Musgrave in the 16, feeling the heat from Jimmy Spencer. That is 7th spot.
Jimmy fighting a loose condition, cannot stay on the bottom of the racetrack. You see him chasing the car up the bank because of the loss of grip on the back of the car.
And Steve Burns has got to be frustrating for Donnie Wingo and the boys just to watch that.
Yeah, it sure is. I just talked to Donnie a second ago, Eli, and he said that Jimmy is reporting a vibration. He also says there might be something wrong with the brakes. Now, Glenn just talked about the guessing game. Cecil Gordon, one of the key players on this team, told me that Jimmy did not even practice this afternoon. They thought they learned enough last night in the No Bull 25, but he's going backwards now.
Meanwhile, up front, here goes a battle for the lead again. Mayfield wants it. Mayfield takes it in turn 1.
Boys, the summer of that, I'm telling you, what a great race. These guys back and forth. You see Ward Burton now drifting back in the second. I guarantee you he does not want to be there because this 12 of Jeremy Mayfield is a very dominant car. If you let him get a little about 4 or 5 cars on that, I think Ward Burton's in trouble.
Well, so far they've been real gentlemen about it. We'll see what happens if they're this close together with a couple of laps to go.
You know, just behind these 2 cars, Joe Nemechek is really coming on. The blue car you see there in 3rd. Great job by Joe Nemechek.
He's a 1.5 seconds back, 1.56 seconds. Then Hunt Strickland in 4th and Kyle Petty in 5th, as you see across the top of the screen. Then you're going back to Chad Little, who's running in the 8th spot right there, the John Deere colors. He and Mike Skinner and Ted Musgrave back in the hunt there. Good look at Chad. Part of the Jack Roush stable, as is Musgrave there in that blue and yellow 16. That's 9th place.
He blew an engine last night, Musgrave did. Started today in 24th spot as a result. So he has really passed some cars.
By the way, the pole sitter has only won the Winston Open once. And that was Michael Waltrip in 1991.
Me to say, I knew that.
Of course you knew that.
I did not know that. That's a good point.
Polson has only won the Winston, what, 3 times?
Johnny Benson's really struggling in 26. You can see him just a second ago. He's dropping back. Derek Cook's closing in on him there in the black. Number 30 going into the corner.
The lead is 7/10 of a second for Jeremy Mayfield over Ward Burton. We're back in a moment.
Brought to you by LA West Luxury Vans, the world's ultimate sport utility vehicle. LA West Luxury Vans, available at select Ford dealerships nationwide. Call us at 800-786-VANS. Race fans, you make the call. New LCI residential long-distance customers receive 30 minutes of free domestic calling and the World Card Plus calling card featuring participating drivers. Don't delay. Call now 1-888-TEAM-LCI.
Welcome back, everybody. TNN Motorsports is live here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is the Winston Open. The winner will advance to the Winston, the All-Star race. You look at Kyle Petty right there. Now running in the 4th spot, having bypassed Hut Strickland moments ago. Meanwhile, Ward Burton has problems after having been so dominant early, buddy.
Oh, you can see the car going up towards the wall, right as you spoke. Looked like the right front tire may have been rubbing, and you see he's having a lot of problems out of the right front corner of the 22. I noticed him smoking several laps back.
Looked at first as if it was coming out underneath the car, but when you saw him lose it there, we saw some sparks as well. Hard to guess what could be wrong with that car, but he's not going to win this thing.
And NASCAR is going to check the racetrack. Caution is on the speedway. They're not sure if there was debris that came off the car or possibly some oil. Steve, what are you hearing down on pit road?
Well, just seconds ago, we talked to the team, and they guys were just shrugging their shoulders. They didn't know what was wrong, so they told Ward, just ride it out, go as far as you can. As soon as the words came out of their mouths, the thing blew up. It is definitely a motor problem ending the night for Ward Burton, but they're going to bring him on pit road to check him out.
Yeah, what I thought was a tire rubbing, you definitely believe that the engine let go and all the oil come out of the wheel well there on the right front as he went up towards the outside wall.
So Jeremy Mayfield now leads, but Joe Nemechek, who may have been the quickest car on the racetrack, is going to close in with 11 laps remaining to settle this. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Winston NASCAR's All-Star Race from Charlotte is being brought to you by Mobil 1 Synthetic Motor Oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1. And by the Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning. Hey, if you want to get online right now, you can check out NASCAR online during the running of the Winston or any of the upcoming events. Check it out, your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. I get online every single day to catch up with the latest news at NASCAR Online. Why don't you do so as well at www.nascar.com.
Well, the whole back of the field has just decided to make a pit stop.
Might as well. There's Jimmy Spencer's crew going to work on the No Bull Ford Taurus.
Well, this is going for it, right? You're in the back of the pack anyway. Throw some tires at it and see if that'll make a difference. See how many cars you can pass getting up there.
Glenn Jarrett is in the 50 pit.
Yeah, they've been fighting a real tight condition, Eli. The car's very, very tight, so they came in, taking a couple rounds of wedge out of it, making a track bar adjustment on the thing, too, to try to loosen them up. Like you said, Nick, they got nothing to lose. Johnny Benson on the other side of me came in. Remember, his car was very, very loose. They weren't taking any chances on it. It's the car he will drive next week in the Coach 600. This gives him an opportunity to adjust it.
Matt Yoakum was down in the Ken Schrader pit.
Eli, Kenny had been complaining the car was on the loose side. They made a chassis adjustment with the track bar. 4 tires for Kenny Schrader. They hope these adjustments, because a lot of teams are talking about using this race as a test, so they're hoping these adjustments will do something to the car. They kind of get a little bit of feedback for next week's race. Steve?
Now, again, the reason we're under caution was the problem that Ward Burton had here moments ago, buddy.
You can see Ward Burton going down into turn 1, all of a sudden veering straight up towards the wall. Very, very lucky. No contact to amount to anything to the outside wall, and did not spin or cause any problems to the other competitors.
Now, since this race is being run under conventional NASCAR rules, and we are inside the final 10 laps of the event, we're going to have a single file restart. It's what they call the 10-lap rule. It works every week. It doesn't matter whether it's an event like this for no points or a standard NASCAR Winston Cup event. Inside the final 10 laps, single file restart. Only the lead lap cars will be up front. Those that are more than 1 lap down, or at least a lap down, they will be back near the tail end of the field, and they are going to be lining up single file as well, back behind all of those who are on the lead lap. This week on TNN's Wild Wild Web Week, it's your opportunity to ask the experts how to speak, or about fishing, or learn a new step in the dance floor, or chat with one of your favorite stars. All you need is a phone or a computer, and you're connected. Check out all the great shows this week on TNN's Wild Wild Web Week.
Do you think Jeremy Mayfield's heart is beating a little bit hard right now? Winning his first ever Winston Cup race last night, the No Bull 25. Now a chance to advance into the Winston Cup, Winston tonight, and also leading the point standings. What else could be going good for this kid?
And what a gutsy young man, too. I mean, he gave up what he had at home, moved from Owensboro, Kentucky to Nashville, became a fabricator at Earl Sadler's shop, only to get an ARCA ride, and then learn from there. Let's see if he can hold off Joe Nemechek.
And I'll tell you one more thing that could go well for him. If he does start at the tail end, it wouldn't be the first time that the Winston has been won from the back of the pack.
Michael Waltrip doing that a couple of years ago.
Like a rocket ship, the 12 goes down the back straightaway there. Jeremy Mayfield assumes the lead, but look at this mess behind him. Everybody double wide going down into the corner, trying to make that run towards the lead.
The outside groove there, that's Hut Strickland in that red and white car. The Circuit City Machine gets together there with Dick Trickle.
Kyle Petty running in third is very strong. He's been here before these shootouts. We're at the tail end of the race. He is in position to win them.
You know how many friends you have with 10 laps to go? No. Zero. They're back home watching us on TV tonight.
We saw a little smoke out of Hut Strickland's car when he and Dick Trickle got together before. Apparently bent the sheet metal in on that Goodyear Eagle. You see the number 8 car there. Hut Strickland is talking of him. Here comes Spencer with those new tires.
Jimmy Spencer.
23.
Woo, like a rocket on the outside there. Short time to do it, but hey, Jimmy Spencer pulled off a miraculous move before. 3 wide into turn 1.
Unbelievable.
These guys, though, are 1 9/10 seconds behind the race leader, Jeremy Mayfield, with less than 5 laps to go, riding with Wally Dallenbach now.
But last night in the No Bull 25s, we found that in 25 laps, the tires gave up about 0.8 of a second. One of these guys could still win it.
Jimmy Spencer looking on the outside of Hut Strickland, making the move pretty easily on the outside. Now Dick Trickle's his next victim.
And if you're just tuning in, Spencer took on 2 tires in that last stop. But only the winner of this race will have another race to run tonight. Everybody else packs it up and goes home. He's going to take 4th place away from Dick Trickle.
Spencer on the outside. Gets another one.
Are getting great grip through the corner and makes a move on Kyle Petty on the high side. Jimmy Spencer driving like a madman.
I'm going to tell him you said that.
I don't care. He drove for me one time. He is a madman when money's up.
There he goes around Kyle Petty for 3rd, but still 1 9/10 seconds behind Jeremy Mayfield, the leader.
I guarantee you the spotters are telling him Jimmy Spencer's coming like a whirlwind behind you. These guys right here are still racing like there's no tomorrow, and they're learning a lot for next week's 600.
Well, there is no tomorrow. If they don't win this thing, that's it. They load up and go home.
Yeah, but there's a lot you can learn out there. This is the best race conditions you can have to set up for next week.
Bang right there. Steve Grissom in that white and green Kodiak car.
He's off the pace right now. He got into the outside wall just a little bit off turn 4.
Less than 2 laps to go. Mayfield's lead 0.4 of a second on Nemechek. 1 9/10 seconds on Spencer.
Mayfield's crew has gone bleach blonde. 6 of them have dyed their hair, thinking maybe that's all we have to do to win one of these things. And some of them say Mayfield's going to dye his hair.
White flag.
Eli, 1 lap to go. Jeremy Mayfield is writing history as he makes this run around the racetrack here to try to get an advance into the Winston.
This is going to keep the streak alive because every running of the Winston thus far has included that current NASCAR Winston Cup Series point leader. And here with Jeremy Mayfield about to win the Winston Open, that streak will continue. Mayfield's night will continue as he wins the Winston Open and advances to 20th starting spot in the All-Star race. Coming up a bit later on, Paul Andrews and the entire Formula 1 team. Very quick high fives. Now they've got to get to work. How much work do they get to, buddy? What can they do? What likely are they to do between now and 30 minutes or so from now from the Winston's start time?
Man, I tell you, I don't know I'd be doing a lot to that thing except maybe polishing it a little bit because that was a great run by Jeremy Mayfield. Did what he had to do, but I'm sure there's little tweaking things that they can do to that car to make it better for the Winston. Right now, he's headed for winner's circle, and I guarantee you there couldn't be a happier guy right now than Jeremy Mayfield.
Biggest win of his entire career, right here.
And when we come back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, we'll chat with Jeremy Mayfield and we'll begin to set the stage for NASCAR's All-Star Race. The Winston is next on TNN. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and if you are a racer, you certainly want to make sure you pick up a copy of the Hardcore 4x4. It's TNN Motorsports game for the Sony PlayStation and the Sega Saturn system. It's in stores now, and you'll see fenders crunching, wheels busting, doors flying off. I'd likely to see here later on tonight. But the game gets so real, you're going to have to scrape the mud off your TV set. TNN Motorsports Hardcore 4x4. Available at stores right now. Some of the folks responsible for the pictures you're enjoying tonight, but nobody's enjoying this night anymore. How are you? Then Jeremy Mayfield.
Okay, we got us all situated here. Jeremy, a happy young man here. Couple anxious moments there. Your car you got pushed up to the outside there. We fell all the way back to fifth, but you had to feel like you had the car once you got it back on the bottom.
I knew we did. You know, just Miss Mobile 1-4 just running so good, and you know, last night we were quick on the short runs because it was 25 lapper. Tonight we knew we was going to have to give up a little bit at the beginning to be there at the end. And man, my hat's off this Mobile 1 team. Pretty awesome.
Last thing in the world you wanted to see was that caution with 10 laps to go.
I did not want to see a caution because I was starting to slide around, and I knew Joe was sitting there right even with us, and yeah, I knew we just had to get a good start, and I didn't get a good start. So he was right on us and went off in the corner, and just luckily we had a good handle on the race car tonight.
Now, Jeremy, usually the third time's the charm. This is the second time in a row that you've been to victory lane. You like to come back and see me here a little bit later?
That's what we're here for this whole weekend. You know, we're sitting here. We wanted to run good last night, get a good starting spot tonight, try to win this thing, accomplish the second one. Now we get the third one. It's going to be a little bit tougher.
You will have the car with you next time, won't you?
Oh, yeah, hopefully. I hope so.
All right, we're going to let him celebrate. The only thing that they're concerned about, guys, is he was coming in after taking the checkered flag. They're a little concerned about the car being a little sluggish on the takeoffs, on the restarts. Other than that, they're happy with things. Steve?
And Glenn, we're down here in the garage area. All the drivers are getting ready to get in to their convertibles to make their lap around the racetrack to talk to the fans. Dale Earnhardt's over talking to the crew of the one car. Again, a big night. All these drivers for the fans. And let's go now to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Steve, standing here with Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy, Mr. Excitement, you came back to the field like a tornado. The gamble almost paid off.
It almost did, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, not in racing. Winning was all there was, and the Winston No Bull car ran awesome, but I think I punished the car too quick, way too quick in the beginning. They come back to bite me, and we had a caution come out there real late. We needed about 4 more laps, possibly, but it didn't work our way, and you know, we had a good weekend, but we're not in the big one, and that's upsetting. But I can't say enough about Darn Wingo and Travis and everybody on my team. I love every one of them. We're running really strong, and we're excited about next week.
Look for these guys on pole night Wednesday night. They look to be pretty strong this week in Charlotte.
Now, let's add it up already. Last night, Jeremy Mayfield won one of the No Bull 25 qualifiers. He got $25,000 for that. He wins the Winston Open, $32,000 for that. So right now he's got $57 grand. If he finishes dead last in the Winston, that's $18,000 guaranteed. So right now it's been a $75,000 weekend before he fires the engine again.
But he's already spent some of it, Eli. Apparently, Lieutenant Governor Dennis Wicker talked to him before the start of the program tonight and persuaded him that if he really did something, if he won this Winston Open, that Jeremy would donate some money to send a kid to a 2-year college.
Right, a community college.
Yeah, and Jeremy has agreed to do that. So he's going to pay for a student now to go to school, and that's a great thing to have happen.
Boy, is that a beautiful sight.
Yep.
Great sight for Jeremy Mayfield as well. And Paul Andrews, the crew chief. Paul's got a wonderful record of success in these kind of races, doesn't he, Dick?
He sure does. Started out with Alan Kowicki, won the championship with Alan in a whole bunch of races there. Went on with Jeff Bodine, enjoyed some success there. Has struggled, persevered with Jeremy Mayfield. It's not been easy to get him here to victory lane, but Paul Andrews surely is due a pat on the back for a wonderful job.
He's one of 6 active NASCAR Winston Cup crew chiefs to have won a Winston Cup championship. There had been 7 earlier this year, but Tim Brewer no longer crew chiefing for the number 7 car. So right now 6 crew chiefs on the circuit are former Winston Cup championship crew chief winners. When we come back, we'll wrap things up for the Winston Open and turn our attention to the big one, as Jimmy Spencer called it. John Andretti's in the Winston, so's Dale. Prime time country. It's a way for you to find out exactly how you can win a 1972 Cheyenne pickup truck. It's a special announcement. AC Delco, Clint Back, and TNN are giving away, that's right, giving away a beautiful Chevy truck, a vintage 72 Cheyenne pickup worth $25,000. It's autographed by Clint Black. All you've got to do is watch Primetime Country, which you should do anyway because Gary Chapman does a great job hosting that show. But coming up Tuesday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, see Clint Black and learn more about how you can win the truck in that AC Delco Clint Black Nothing But the Tail Light Sweepstakes. You can also enter through TNN's website at country.com. So do check it out on Primetime Country. All right, let's look back. One final thought on the Winston Open. There are the finishing results. Those guys, as you've been saying all night, buddy, have probably learned something that they can put to use in the Coke 600 here next weekend.
I think you've learned a lot, Eli, and that's the whole thing. There's nothing like seat time and track time to get a race car really dialed in. Even though they don't go up and advance into the Winston, they've learned quite a bit here tonight.
And this is the absolute best kind of practice as well, because they don't just run the absolute fast line around the racetrack. They had to run high, they had to run low, they had to try all kinds of different things. So not only is this an opportunity to win a whole bunch of money, and there's about $1.3 million on the line tonight, but it's also an opportunity to dial the car in for some night racing.
So there you see the results of the Winston Open. And there are Jeff Gordon on the left, and if you can see Dale Earnhardt's elbow right there on the right of your screen, there in the back of the DuPont hauler, just talking things over.
Great observation. That is, by the way. You see the good wrench right around the waistband.
Indeed it was. Of course, a new look to the Dale Earnhardt Good Wrench Chevrolet here this evening. We'll talk more about that as our evening continues.
Look at that crowd of people. That is the garage area where all the cars for the Winston are lined up. The pace cars are in there. And look at how many people. They got as many people right there as some auto races have had all year long.
There's Dale Earnhardt's car right there with the big bass on the front.
Right. It's the fourth time there's Dale right now. Fourth time that Earnhardt and Richard Childress Racing have changed their car colors. That's Chris Powell from R.J. Reynolds saying, come on, guys, we got to go to work. And Dale said, all right, I'm coming.
Here he comes.
But yeah, they've got the pro shops, the Bass Pro Shops, and Tracker Boats on board the car.
Are y'all waiting on us?
Everybody wishing everyone the very best as the drivers climb aboard their convertibles. Rusty Wallace. Glenn's right down there with him. Glenn?
Yeah, sitting here with Rusty Wallace. And the first thing I want to ask you about a week and a half ago, Humpy Wheeler came out, put the finger on you, man, and said, Rusty Wallace going to win this thing. Any extra pressure for you?
I don't know. I got a good car tonight. I feel good. I love this race. I love coming here. Somebody said earlier that I don't like the Winston, that I thought they shouldn't have it. I don't know who said that. It wasn't me, buddy. I love this race.
Your teammate did pretty well. It's got to make you feel good because I know you got similar setups.
I know what he's got in his car.
And he likes it.
He really does. Of course, that's a very, very potent combination. And you know, Jeremy's made no bones about it. He said, yeah, I'm not a bad driver, but Rusty has taught me a ton.
Rusty and he think very much alike. I've been on test programs with them, and I can tell you they think just about alike, and they love the same feel in race cars. That's very, very important for a teammate.
And for the last 2 days, Rusty Wallace has been going back and forth between his race car and Jeremy's race car. There are no secrets whatsoever. They share absolutely everything. They've both had their heads under each other's suspension. They have shared everything. Rusty ought to be really fast tonight.
There's Jeff Bodine.
What happened to his nose?
Oh, it's one of those breathe right strips.
Oh, good.
Come on.
It's one of those breathe right strips that the athletes use, something that none of us use in the booth, I might add. But,
we probably need it.
The competitors say it really helps regarding, I mean, football players, basketball, what have you, it really helps you breathe better.
Look at Dale.
Look at
I'm happy to say Stevie looks wonderful.
Yeah. Well,
Not
last
so
year
sure about her date.
we had the Elvis suit last year. Look at those sunglasses.
I think those sunglasses are uglier than the ones he had last year.
Steve Burns, why don't you talk with whomever that is?
This is a new look for you, Daryl. It looks good on you.
Well, you know, it's my I'm having a coming out party, I think. I don't know what I'm doing, to tell you the truth, but I feel good. You know, that's the main thing. You gotta, it's for the show, man. You know, anything for the show. That's what we're all here for, is the show.
Darrell, we talked earlier about how you're such a cagey veteran. You ate dinner, took a shower. Did you really take a nap?
I took a little snooze there. You know, I just want to relax and be calm and cool, and I really feel like this thing might just fall in my lap tonight. Now, the thing is, if it don't fall in my lap and I'm not ready for it, that'd be bad news. But I really think this thing's going to come to me tonight. I feel good about the car. It's been going pretty well all afternoon, and I feel like I got a pretty good game plan tonight.
Not to mention coming off a 5th place finish at California.
Well, it's that Pennzoil. You know, that Pennzoil Chevrolet is slick, and she's getting the job done, and I'm going to take her to the front.
Nice shades.
Thank you very much. These are convertible riding shades.
Nice night for it.
Plus, you know, when you take them off, things will look better.
We hope so.
He'll look better, too.
Darrell, of course, a former NASCAR Winston Cup champion who has more wins than any other active driver on the circuit. He won the inaugural Winston in 1985, but perhaps his most gratifying win was the 1989 Daytona 500. Look at all those flash bulbs just popping there in the grandstands as the drivers circle this racetrack in those convertibles. Nobody's sitting down. I don't know why they keep adding new seats. There's Michael Waltrip, his wife Buffy alongside. And Bobby Hamilton in the garage area now aboard his convertible. I believe Matt Yoakum is with him.
Well, Bobby Hamilton, you were laying down in the back here. You just kicking back?
Just resting a little bit. It ought to be a little work for us tonight.
You excited about this one?
Yeah, really do. We really appreciate Winston putting on this thing. It's like Saturday night racing. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, if anybody should know about Saturday night racing, it's Bobby Hamilton.
One of the very best on Saturday nights at Nashville Speedway, USA. Bobby Hamilton captured his first Winston Cup victory at Phoenix here on TNN in 1996. Since then, he's had a victory in 3 consecutive seasons, this year winning on the short track at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. There is Bobby Hamilton making his way out onto the racetrack, and now let's check in with Dale Jarrett.
And the convertible moving right up here in line. Dale, you said the other day that you do really get a sense that this is an all-star evening, a big night for the drivers and the fans.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a tremendous night. I mean, the fans come out here in record numbers each and every year. And hopefully they're going to see a great show. And it's very important to the drivers and the crews. This is an all-star race, and this is about beating your peers on a certain night. And, you know, it's all about winning. Second and on back doesn't matter.
You said last year you won the wrong segment. Can you change that tonight?
Well, we're going to try to do that with the different rules. You know, everybody's got to run hard every segment now, and so we're going to try to do that. You know, hopefully we've got a good race car here. It's a brand new car, and hopefully it's going to perform well, and I'll get my job done, and we can be there at the end.
Enjoy the evening.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Now let's go to the other Jarrett, Glenn.
And I'm with the other Waltrip. He's right behind his brother. First thing I want to ask you is, Darrell said it was a coming out party. What's he coming out of?
I wish he'd come out of them stupid-looking glasses. That's the best thing he can come out of. He's rejuvenated, that's for sure. He's been impressive to watch since he got in Dale's car, and I'm real proud for him. Except I ain't been able to keep up with him, and I liked it better when he was the other Waltrip on the track.
All right, you won this thing a year or 2 years ago. Can you do it again?
I hope so. It was awesome, Glenn. When this was my stage one night, I owned this place for one night. If I didn't do anything else yet, maybe I can do it again tonight, and then I will officially not have won 2 races.
All right. We've heard it all from Michael Waltrip.
Oh, Michael Waltrip, a legend. And as he said, though he has yet to win a regular NASCAR Winston Cup season event, who can forget the 1996 running of the Winston Select, as they called it. After entering the race by virtue of a 5th place finish in the Winston Open, he goes to victory lane. There's Jeff Gordon. Let's get his thoughts.
Well, Jeff Gordon, the 2-time winner of the Winston. Jeff, you've got Blacker out tonight. How about win number 3?
I don't know, man. It's some pretty tough competition out here. We'll have to wait and see, but my car's pretty good. We're going to just have to see if it's as good as some of these other guys.
Charlotte, a little bit like Winchester, maybe with about 185,000 more fans?
Well, it's as exciting as Winchester, that's for sure. And sometimes, you know, Winchester feels like it's as fast as Charlotte, so they definitely have some comparison. But this is an exciting night. This is great for the fans, great for the drivers, and hopefully we can go out there and win some money.
He hopes for some big green tonight. Glenn Jarrett?
Mark Martin, you seem to be the odds-on favorites. You've been one of the fastest guys. Can you do it tonight?
Our car didn't work worth a flip this afternoon, but if it works like it did last night, whew, we'll be awesome. But a lot of people were loose tonight. We may be loose. I don't know.
Did you guys learn anything from what went on in the first race? We know Johnny's car was awful loose. Did you talk about that?
We just, we hope ours isn't. We didn't make much adjustment. Our car was awesome last night. It was terrible loose today. We're hoping that by 9:15, when this thing starts tonight, it'll start coming back our way.
Well, you know, they do have a chance to adjust it after the first segment. And if you're curious, that little place on his nose, he walked into a ladder.
Now let's go to Steve Burns with Bobby Labonte.
And Bobby Labonte was second last year. Bobby, how do you like your chances tonight, Bobby?
Oh, I don't know. I think we got a pretty good race car. The Interstate Pontiac ran good today. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But, you know, it's always an exciting race. We'll have to kind of play it by ear, see what the track does tonight over what we had today.
You enjoy this atmosphere?
Sure. A lot of fun.
All right, there you have it.
Now Matt Yoakum standing by with Terry Labonte.
Texas Terry Labonte, the 88 winner of this event. Terry, starting up front. How do you like your chances?
Well, I don't know. We made some changes there. We weren't real happy with it in the last practice, so I don't know. We'll do our best.
Everybody pointing to Mark Martin as the man to beat. You got anything for him?
Yeah, no, never Mark.
Well, they're still optimistic, guys.
That's Terry Labonte, the Iceman. He has not missed a NASCAR Winston Cup event since January 1979 in Riverside, California. He won his second Winston Cup Series championship just a couple of years ago. And Terry has also won the Winston Select here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Glenn Jarrett is standing by with Bill Elliott.
And Eli, he's the guy they're going to be chasing first. He starts first in this thing tonight for the second year in a row. Just ready to get this thing underway, I bet.
Well, it's been a long day, and it's about time to get started. We'll see what the McDonald's Taurus will do here in a little while.
How was it in practice last night and this afternoon, Bill?
Well, last night we were decent, but I felt like we got a lot better today. But we didn't change the car from the last practice. We just decided we'd change it during the first 30-lap event here. See what we go.
All right, best of luck to you. As I said, they get that opportunity to make the adjustment on the car. All the crews, every one of them to the last man, have tried to build in as much adjustment to the car as they possibly can. It's just about time to get this rumble underway, guys.
Bill Elliott, awesome Bill from Dawsonville. His career is woven deeply into the fabric of NASCAR history. That lap of 212.809 at Talladega, 1987, the fastest lap ever by a stock car. And in 1985, awesome Bill won the Winston Million with victories at Daytona, Talladega, and Darlington. There you see the cars being staged on the main straightaway. Mark Martin and his wife, Arlene, making their way around the racetrack. A new paint scheme on Mark's Ford this evening. Eagle One will be the primary sponsor. Mark Martin has 27 career NASCAR Winston Cup victories dating back to 1989 at Rockingham. Mark has already won 3 times this year, finding victory lane at Texas, Las Vegas, and again 2 weeks ago in California. Now we talked about the new paint. And whether that's made them go fast, who knows, because they were blazing all day today.
The blue and white ran pretty well at the start of the year. The black car here, you see the Eagle One. Mark Martin, I don't think paint has a lot to do. What a talented driver.
And there you see, after winning the Winston Open, Jeremy Mayfield's crew pushing the Mobil 1 Ford to 20th starting spot. And there are Jeff Gordon and wife Brooke making their way around the racetrack.
Boy, is there a more handsome couple than those two anywhere in sports.
Nice folks. Jeff Gordon becoming the sport's first $6 million man last year, and along the way, Jeff won the Daytona 500, the Winston Million, and the Winston on his way to capturing his second NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. And there is the new paint look for the DuPont Refinishes team. That car, yes, folks, it does actually change color depending upon how you look at it, from what angle. It looks purple, it looks gold, it looks bronze. It really does. It's a new style of paint the DuPont folks have, and it really looks neat here in person.
Eli, I think there's 5 different combinations as you walk around the car and the different angles you look at it. There's a green reflection on it, there's a gold, there's a purple. It's just amazing, the paint on that car.
But they said it was easy to paint, expensive to paint. It's $200 a pint. That's how they sell that stuff, by the pint, not by the gallon.
Yeah, but still, it really looks neat. But it's got a lot of interesting attraction here.
Yeah, it's a chameleon car.
It
You
really
walk around and it changes color. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
The pole sitters team there you saw, and now here goes Jeff Gordon's car. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt is with Steve Burns.
And he said he's anxious to talk, Dale. 3 times he won this race. Last time, 1993. The Winston, Dale Earnhardt synonymous. This is a big night for you.
Well, it is a big night. I tell you, it's a great race, and everybody works awful hard for this race. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of hype, and about this time of night, it gets exciting. So it's time to go racing. I think, you know, Buddy and the guys up in the booth up there, they ought to change shirts. That white's too bright up there. It didn't look good on TV earlier.
Yeah, but they're up there in the air conditioning.
Yeah, but a bunch of good-looking guys, though, really. You know, so the shirts really don't matter on American.
I'd like a comment about that hat, Steve. Tell him to lose that. That's pretty ugly from this angle.
Buddy says he's not really in love with your new hat.
Well, I'm sorry, Buddy. I mean, you know, he's drove the 3 before, and it looks good on anything.
Hey, Larry Mack said you had a good race car tonight. How do you feel, Dale?
Well, we do, and we keep tuning with it. We keep tuning with it. I think we'll be okay, and that's what's important is just keep. Got to have something you can work with. If it's totally out to lunch, you can't work with it. We feel like we got a program we can work with and make better as the night goes. Good luck.
That is Dale Earnhardt, who also known as the Intimidator. Dale Earnhardt's victory at the Daytona 500 was the icing on the cake for a career that includes 7 NASCAR Winston Cup championships. He's the only 3-time winner of the Winston and has given the event perhaps its most memorable moments. And there is the look of that GM Goodwrench Chevy for this evening. Bass Pro Shops and Tracker Boats. The 4th time that Richard Childress Racing has changed their paint scheme for the Winston. Remember, they had the 25th anniversary for R.J. Reynolds. They had the Olympic rings painted on there. Wheaties a year ago.
Well, part of that is for the die-cast. That's very, very popular with race fans. They want to get some sort of a die-cast model of just about everything Dale Earnhardt and their other favorite drivers run. It's turned into about $150 million a year business, making die-cast models of these cars, and a lot of people just love them.
Lots going on. Bobby Hamilton and Jeff Burton talking over. Mark Martin says there's no strategy. You can't figure out strategy until the race has started. It will start shortly.
Now, Mama always told me don't hang around those boys. They'll get you into trouble with the cars and make a noise. But I had this deep desire Mama never knew. Girls like fast cars too.
Girls like fast cars too. That is the new video from Warner Brothers recording artist Anita Cochran. That will be starting on CMT, Country Music Television, in just a few weeks. And Anita is with us here in the booth after having sung the national anthem here tonight. Best of luck on the new video, and great to see you.
Well, thanks. It's I'm really excited about the video, but I had a great time here today. I've got to tell you, doing the national anthem, it was really an honor.
This really is something special. Quite an atmosphere, isn't it?
It sure is. I tell you what.
I got to congratulate you on the #1 hit there with you, and featuring Steve Warner. What If I Said? That was very, very nice to see it go #1.
Well, thank you very much. It was my first one, so it was a great honor to get to share that with Steve also.
Did you have a chance to get through the garage? Because there are a lot of Harleys down there, and I understand
I did.
you ride, you're a Harley rider, aren't you?
Yeah, I kind of looked at them and missed mine. I thought it was, pretty sad I didn't get to ride it here, but...
Well, listen, it's great to have you here, and all the best. I know you do a lot for the sport, too. You've been involved in the Mark Colley race in Nashville, so keep that up, and best of luck in this career that obviously is just going right through the roof.
Well, thank you very much, and I just had a great time being here.
Anita Cochran, Warner Brothers recording artist. Great to have you with us here on TNN Motorsports. Let's go back downstairs towards the staging lane here along the main straightaway.
And a great underdog story might be Rich Bickle tonight. We were just talking a year ago. Last weekend, you were winning a truck race in Monroe, Washington. Tonight, you're in the Winston and Cale Yarborough's car.
Well, I guess I got to say this is for all the short track guys out there in the country that, you know, if you live your dream, this is a part of it. And I'm glad to be here. You know, the way I look at this deal is 2 30-lap features and a big 10-lap trophy dash, and got the car running pretty good. I think we can be very respectful tonight.
All right, and of course, he's filling in for the injured Greg Sachs, and Buddy Baker says Cale Yarborough's very high on Rich Bickle.
Definitely should be, and Saxey is due back in a few weeks. And Rich Bickle told me yesterday it's an old backup car. The body's on it wrong, but Buddy, he said it's just hauling the mail.
Yeah, you know, Bickle knows a lot about the chassis, and as I said, Cale Yarborough is very, very high on him. But we would just want to tell Greg Sachs that Cale and everybody's waiting on him to return to the team, and get well, Greg. We're looking forward to you coming back to racing.
Let's head back downstairs and get a thought from Paul Andrews, the crew chief of the team that won the Winston Open.
10 minutes ago, Eli, it looked like a Chinese fire drill around this car. Paul, what changes did you make to get it into the big victory lane?
Well, made a little plug change to try to make it a little more responsive. It's just a little sluggish off the corner, trying to help that a little bit. Track's really slowed down a lot. You can't really change the gears, so we got to change into something else that we can. You know, other than that, just a little bit of wedge. It was a little free all night, but, you know, and other than that was it. But unfortunately, when we got ready to let the car down, everything, we get ready to let it down and start it up. It didn't start up. The starter went out on it. Tried to change it, really didn't have enough time to change it, so we're going to have to push the car off tonight.
A unique format tonight. What's your game plan? Do you have a lot of wish lists as far as what you'd like to see?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the first 30 laps we've got to settle in, run hard. It's probably not our best choice on tires as far as the way things match up. It's a good set. We got a better set for the end, and you know, I don't know what's going to happen in this last 10 laps. I'm going to have to go with the flow. I'm looking at trying to stay out most likely though.
Well, keep an eye on these guys. They'll be moving to the front. Eli?
They will be moving to the front, and the time is getting near. 2 minutes and 18 seconds from the start on the A1 Steak Sauce countdown clock. A1 Steak Sauce. The sizzle starts here. The countdown continues here as we close in on the start of the Winston. NASCAR's all-star race, the Midas countdown clock. Midas Auto Systems experts, a better system for you and your car. Jeff Bodine's machine, the Phillips Ford.
That's a different paint job, too, for tonight.
Jeff was 16th quick in practice earlier today. Kenny Irwin, he's in the race by virtue of driving for an eligible car owner, Robert Yates. Rusty Wallace cinching up the safety gear. And again, if you're curious as to the eligibility rules here, winners in 1998, 1997, qualified owners with new drivers. Again, the Irwin Yates situation, Cale Yarborough with Rich Bickle. Active past NASCAR Winston Cup champions. That's how Bill Elliott and Darrell Waltrip got in. Drivers who have won the Winston in the last 5 years. That will put Michael Waltrip and Jeff Bodine in the field. Drivers who have won in previous seasons who are not otherwise eligible to bring the field up to 19, and that made Sterling Marlin's entree into the field. And then the driver transferring from the Winston Open, Jeremy Mayfield, for your starting field of 20.
And let me tell you who's got a chance to win this race tonight. The race has been won from the pole. The race has been won from dead last. It's been won by a guy who blew his engine up coming across the start-finish line. It's been won by a guy crashing as he's come across the start-finish line. It's been won by a guy who drove through the infield on the way to victory. Every one of these 20 drivers has got a shot at this thing.
And that guy you're talking about that run through the infield right there, Dale Earnhardt, they called it the pass in the grass, but it was never a pass. He was leading coming off. They made contact coming off turn 4, out into the grass, and then back across the start-finish line.
Still a legend, though. He'll be tough in this thing tonight, Earnhardt will.
Yep, there's Jeff Burt. Ernie Irvin in the Skittles machine.
Brand new car.
Rusty Wallace.
Ran a lot of laps of practice this afternoon, more than anybody.
Rich Bickle driving for the injured Greg Sachs. John Andretti, that car ran and won the pole at Michigan 2 years ago. It hasn't won since.
I tell you, he almost won Martinsville. He was run a very, very close second all day long and run out of fuel right near the end.
Now, let's watch what happens here. Remember, Paul Andrews said they had a problem with the starter. You see everybody else, the crew members are gone. Here they've got the crew trying to push the car off, and you might have also seen a wrecker right there. And one way or the other, they'll get that car fired, I'm sure.
You always worry when the starter does not work, though. If you get caught in a little thing where you might spin out and the car choke down, you're stuck.
So once the other cars begin to pull off the main straightaway here, they have not yet started. Now they do. Ricky Rudd, you see, inching the Tide ride just ahead, and they'll get that wrecker in position to help Jeremy Mayfield if necessary. Last year in the Winston, Jeff Gordon won. Bobby Labonte finished second. Terry Labonte was third. Then Dale Earnhardt and Jimmy Spencer.
Add to the drama tonight, caution laps do not count in the Winston. This thing will finish under green because the cautions don't count. Here we go.
Field begins to roll off. And I will remind you about NASCAR Thunder stores. Jeff Burton is going to be appearing at the Richmond store. You might want to be there, folks, on Thursday, June the 4th from 6:30 to 8:30. Jeff Burton will be signing autographs at NASCAR Thunder at the Chesterfield Town Center. All compliments of track gear. The official store of NASCAR. Or call the number on the screen to get the location nearest to you. Well, they've gotten Jeremy Mayfield pushed off, and he is away. Why don't we take a look at the starting lineup for this, the 14th renewal of the Winston. Bill Elliott in his 13th race. Third time he started on the pole. Terry Labonte in his 13th Winston. He won in 1988. In his fourth running of the Winston, Bobby Labonte. A second place finish behind Jeff Gordon one season ago. And there is Jeff Gordon. He won this event in 1995 and 1997. Goes for the third time tonight. Mark Martin. He has had a second place finish in 1993. And there's Sterling Marlin. Twice. Make it three times. He has finished second in the Winston. Dale Jarrett in his seventh Winston. He's won the first segment the last 2 years running. Michael Waltrip, the 1996 winner of this event. He came to the field that night from the Winston Open. And the inaugural winner of the Winston back in 1985, Darrell Waltrip. He's been in them all. One of three drivers to do so. Kenny Irwin. And because his car owner is eligible, this is his first trip to this all-star event. And Jeff Bodine's here for the 13th time, and he won in 1994. Another driver who's been in all of the Winstons, Ricky Rudd. He has won a race every year for the last 15. Bobby Hamilton. He was 20th in his only Winston appearance prior to tonight. Jeff Burton of South Boston, Virginia, has the Jack Roush colors here this evening. In his seventh Winston, Ernie Irvin, Modesto, California. He starts 15th tonight. The 1989 winner in his 12th Winston, Rusty Wallace of St. Louis, Missouri. Because his car owner, Cale Yarborough, is eligible. Rich Bickle of Edgerton, Wisconsin. The Cheeseheads in the field. John Andretti is in for the first time, driving for the King. And the only three-time winner of the Winston who's been in all the races, Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator. And the first time for that man, Jeremy Mayfield. He won the Open a half hour ago. He's in the big show now. The 20 drivers in the Winston. 11 Fords, 6 Chevrolets, and 3 Pontiacs.
Fireworks been going off in the infield, and the crowd is still on its feet. Been on its feet all night long.
Eli, all the way around this racetrack, the grandstands, the flash bulbs are going at the point where it almost light. You can see there the whole grandstand lighting up. People taking pictures because this is the best, the cream of the crop of Winston Cup racing.
Again, this is a 30-lap segment. Rusty Wallace allowing us to hitch a ride tonight. we say thank you to Dale Earnhardt. He's carrying the onboard cameras for us here on TNN Motorsports. Former winner Jeff Bodine letting us ride along with him. And so too Jeff Gordon. Those are the in-car cameras. Here's the in-pit reporter, Steve Burns.
Well, just before the race, we heard Michael Waltrip say he wished Darrell would come out of his glasses. Look what I found.
Oh, no.
Do anything for me? Huh? What do you think?
Thankfully, we're going green. 30 laps. Then, when this segment is over, they will invert the field after spinning a roulette wheel to determine how many cars will be inverted. The green is underway in the Winston. Jumps to the lead while brother Bobby works with Mark Martin, middle of the field.
Here comes Bill Elliott fighting back, as you see, side by side with Terry Labonte as they cross the stripe.
And Bill leads him at the stripe. Bill Elliott leads the first lap of the first segment of the Winston.
Labonte hanging tough on the outside is a bit of a surprise. They weren't happy with the car this afternoon. They said it was missing pollution. Not hooking up at all, but it's hooking up now.
Jeff Gordon on the outside. You're riding with him going into turn 3. You can see the two guys fighting in front of him there. Bill Elliott and Terry Labonte side by side. Jeff Gordon right on the back bumper.
At the stripe, Terry Labonte leading.
Well, he's got him.
Here comes Bobby Labonte in 4th place there in the green car. Terry's taking the lead. Here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside as they head down the back straightaway.
Trouble. That's Ernie Irvin in the wall. Ernie Irvin in the wall collects others.
Turn 2.
Others get on the binders. There you see Rich Bickle going by slowly. Caution is on the speedway. Jeff Gordon leads at the stripe. So Labonte, Elliott, and Gordon. And I said he was going to collect others. Got to give a big credit to Rich Bickle, because I said to myself, no way Rich is going to miss that. He stomped on the binders, and nobody else is caught up in the accident. A single car accident. Let's take a look what happened off turn 2. Watch Ernie there.
Ernie on the outside there. He and Darrell Waltrip side by side. Little contact there as they start by. You can see him up in the outside wall there.
John Andretti was smart,
yes,
too. You see
did.
him just back out of it a little bit, and then once he got clear, boom, he was gone.
And Bickle must have stood his entire frame on the brake pedal to woe down, too.
Eli, that was just the least little bit of contact there between Darrell Waltrip and Ernie Irvin, but at that point in the corner, it don't take much.
Well, he's pretty well bent. I don't know if he's going to be able to get back out again or even want to come back out. They're going to have a hard time to get that car competitive again.
You see Matt Yoakum right there. What does it look like from your vantage point, Matt?
Well, Eli, the back deck lid's fan up. The crew's looking over the car. They're also looking over the left front. They're using what we call the Roush roller, trying to open up the left front wheel well where it's bent in on the tire. There's some severe body damage to the back of the car, and they're looking it over at the moment. He's still sitting in the car, but obviously these guys are pretty dejected. They thought they had a good car tonight.
And again, you can see that baseball bat-looking device at the left front tire. That's what we were talking about earlier, the Roush roller. And what they're doing is trying to push that sheet metal away from the Goodyear tires. So we're under caution, with caution laps not counting here. We have completed 2 laps officially. They revert back in scoring to the last completed lap. So 2 laps are complete, and we have a chance to bring you the AutoZone Tech Fact, brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America.
This year's Winston's going to be a little bit different. It's still 2 30-lap segments followed by a 10-lap shootout, but this year the process for inverting the cars is going to be different. The wheel's going to decide how many are inverted. Our adjustments will still basically remain the same. Wedge in or out for loosening or tightening the car up. We can still use a lot of tape, especially in that last 10-lap segment, but you might not pit in that last 10-lap segment because you lose your track position if you do. Tire pressure, again, going to be very, very critical. We can change the spring rate, make the car tighter, looser, or make it drive totally different by changing 1 or 2 pounds of air pressure in a tire. Our old friends, the spring rubbers. If your car's not handling, you can stiffen or soften the spring, putting a piece of rubber in it or taking it out. A lot of new paint schemes for the Winston come out. Very exciting. This is one of our older cars, blacker, with a new paint scheme. It's DuPont Chrome Illusion, and it changes colors under the lights. Now, even though it's an old car, it's got a new safety feature. This net was invented by Jeff Burton and Bill Simpson, and because of them two, left side driver safety is going to be a lot better this year at the Winston.
Ray Evernham and Blacker as we ride along with the field here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway under caution. Ernie Irvin with repairs to his car. Darrell Waltrip's on pit road. We'll update you when we come back. Just now taking the green flag with Terry Labonte up front. Remember, they did not count that third lap. Caution laps don't count. That's why Jeff Gordon was not leading at the restart. Kind of like an IROC race, they go back to the last completed green flag lap for scoring purposes. Now on this restart, that's how they sort out going off into the corner with Labonte leading Gordon, and they're in 6th place.
Boy, I tell you what, Mark Martin there in 3rd place made a bold move, and already up to 3rd. He is the man that everybody says will be the guy to catch tonight. Mark Martin in 3rd place already.
And now the green car is in front. Now it's the purple car. Now it's the gold car in front.
And it's every bit this illusory, even when you stand in the garage and watch it all change colors. Bill Elliott falling back, started on the pole.
5th place there. Outside goes Sterling Marlin. Outside goes Dale Jarrett, and Bill Elliott can't get back in line.
He's driving hurt. 2 big crashes in his last 2 races. Upside down, on fire both times. Brave guy. He's got a splint on his finger, broken foot. Here he is out doing the best he can, but the car is not performing for him.
Down low where you would think the preferred line was, but you see right now he gets a good run back off the corner there.
Car is just not right. Well, that's why he's got the opportunity in a few laps to come in and adjust it.
Meanwhile, there you've got 10th, 11th, and 12th. Rusty Wallace, with whom we're driving and riding, trying to work around there with Ricky Rudd. Meanwhile, in 2nd spot now. Here goes Mark Martin on the move. In the 6th, the Eagle 1 colors grabs the spot away from Terry Labonte.
And Bobby Labonte now looks under Terry Labonte as they come off turn 2 and head down the back straightaway, side by side. Bobby Labonte looks like he's taking the spot.
Sterling Marlin, very, very strong tonight in that number 40 car.
They're 5 laps into segment number 1. Oh, trouble. Earnhardt is sideways. Getting by, you saw, were Mayfield, Andretti. Darrell Waltrip got by as we ride with Dale Earnhardt. Caution is on the speedway. Positions are locked in right now. Again, they do not run back to the caution stripe or the caution flag here in the Winston.
I do not see any damage whatsoever to the front of the 3-car of Earnhardt.
Or the back. Look at this. The car is whole.
Kind of like Jeff Gordon said in our feature earlier today. Who can spin, do a full 360 at full speed and not hurt anything except Dale Earnhardt? He talked about that happening a few years ago.
Eli, I'm not sure, but he's not back up to speed yet. Whether he has the right front tire on the car looks to be flat right at the moment.
Jeff Bodine won in '94. He had a spin in the first leg. Went on to win the thing.
Let's ride with Dale Earnhardt. Well, let's look at one replay first on the outside look. Just broke loose.
Yeah, all by himself.
Look at Rusty Wallace.
No.
Oh, that's Jeremy Mayfield. Barely getting by.
What a great job by Jeremy. He had him right there in the crosshairs, and he missed him.
And Darrell sure didn't want to hit the boss. Earnhardt owns his car.
Here comes Earnhardt down pit road now. You see the right front locked up there. That's probably the reason it's flat.
Everything's happening right in front of John Andretti tonight.
Now riding with Dale.
You can see the car just gets sideways there. Around he goes. Now look at this side. You see the cars coming. Jeremy Mayfield goes down on the flat part and on by Earnhardt.
So now Larry McReynolds going to work on the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Matt Yoakum, what they find?
Well, guys, looking over the car, Larry McReynolds. Larry, what's wrong with the car?
It was loose, and I guess he got loose over here and lost it.
damage to the car?
Just flat tire.
Just flat tires on the 3 cars, guys.
Well, if you're going to spin, that's the best thing that can happen. Flat good years, and in a race where you do not count the caution laps, you're not losing laps or anything here. You're right back in the hunt, albeit at the back of the field. They'll have a 2x2 restart. Let's go again with the real-time look at that spin moments ago from on board Dale's car.
Okay, you're riding down into turn 3. You see just in front of him there, Bobby Hamilton. The car breaks loose. You can hear him get back in the throttle. He locks the brakes up right here. No harm, no foul. Right back under power.
Nice job.
And
Nice
there
job.
he continues around. Gordon is the leader. Terry Labonte is second. Mark Martin is third. Bobby Labonte is fourth. Sterling Marlin is fifth. Dale Jarrett sixth. Jeff Bodine seventh. Bill Elliott is eighth. Kenny Irwin is ninth. Ricky Rudd 10th. Rusty Wallace is 11th. Michael Waltrip 12th. Jeff Burton 13th. Bobby Hamilton is 14th. Then you've got Andretti Mayfield, Darrell Waltrip, Rich Bickle, and Dale Earnhardt. Again, 2x2 they'll be aligning for restarts when we do go back racing. All of the restarts in the Winston are side by side. Coming up here on TNN, a chance for you to take home a piece of the action sweepstakes. Really, you can actually take home a piece of the action if you can answer this question. Who is going to be leading tonight at the completion of the 50th lap? All right, we have 30 laps in the first segment. After 20 laps of segment number 2, all you've got to do is write down who is leading. You can win a trip to a NASCAR Winston Cup race aired right here on TNN. You'll meet the drivers. You get autographed memorabilia and so on. Just send your name, address, phone number, and the answer on a postcard to TNN's Take Home a Piece of the Action sweepstakes. TNN Station, P.O. Box 3582, Southbury, Connecticut. Or easier still, you can enter on our website, country.com. Just enter by May the 23rd.
Dial it up tonight. Watch the in-car cameras if you want.
Good chance for folks to join us at a NASCAR Winston Cup Series race. As the field now aligns for the restart. Again, the top 10, Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte, and on down towards Ricky Rudd in the number 10 machine. 19 of the 20 starters are still running. Ernie Irvin parking the Skittles car after his accident on lap number 2.
Just 5 laps in so far. Long way to go.
Mark Martin is just chomping at the bits right now, running in third place. That car is a rocket ship. I've been watching him through the middle part of the corners. That car is awesome.
Yeah, Gordon's pretty awesome too. He's strong, really strong.
Jeff Gordon strong in 1995 when he won all 3 segments of this race, led 49 of the 70 laps that night.
Eli, the other car that was running so very well was Bobby Labonte. He's moved all the way up to 4th now.
All right, here we go. Green flag is in the air, and the race restarts. Lap number 6.
Well, Gordon got a jump on that deal, didn't he?
Sure did.
Here comes Mark Martin just under Terry Labonte down into turn 1 and takes that spot away from Terry Labonte.
And the new look to Mark Martin's car. If you're just tuning in, he has Eagle 1 as the sponsor. They've gone to the black paint scheme for this weekend. We'll see the Valvoline Cummins car as per usual in future events.
Rusty in that number 2 car. Picked by Humpy Wheeler, the promoter at this place, to win. Humpy's got an awesome track record for picking the winners of the Winston. We'll see how well he does tonight.
Rusty's in 11th, going for 10th. Meanwhile, up the 3rd spot there. A good scramble going on. 4th and 5th right behind.
Sterling Marlin making a great run right now, trying to pass Terry Labonte to move into 4th place.
Sterling is so strong in these events. He won the Open 3 times, 88, 89, 93. He's been second in the Winston 3 times, has never won it. Says he does well in this thing simply because he likes Charlotte. He sure does run well here.
Dale Jarrett making a move on Terry Labonte now, and everybody knows that Dale Jarrett flies in the Winston.
Well, the early segments anyway. He has had trouble at the end. His best finish has been a 7th. Boy, he really goes in the beginning. We'll see if they can get her dialed in at the tail end tonight and finally take home the trophy on one of these things.
NASCAR timing and scoring and the average speeds right there for these drivers. Being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running.
Eli, look at Jeremy Mayfield making his way through this crowd right now. He's moving up as we speak. Seems to have a very, very fast race car. You can see him right now trying to decide which side he wants to go with. He's going with
Jeff Bodine
right down into turn 3, but that car is running right on the bottom of the race car. Very, very competitive.
We're talking about the 12 of Mayfield right there.
All the way to 14th from 20th. It looks like he's going to take 13th.
3 wide scramble there. If Mayfield can make it stick, but he just holds it back in.
Don't do that.
Oh, the round goes Andretti. Takes Earnhardt with him. Around goes Andretti, and for the second time, Earnhardt spins here tonight. Caution on the Speedway, and this time there's plenty of damage.
Yeah, the rear end housing's knocked forward. You can see the rear wheel was not turning on Earnhardt's car. A lot of damage to that car.
He's moving around in there. He's okay.
Well, Earnhardt and Andretti with the caution being displayed. There's the crew looking on to our telecast, waiting for a replay to find out exactly what happened. And there's John Andretti in the STP Pontiac. Darrell Waltrip makes the opportunity here to come down pit road. Again, caution laps do not count, so you're able to come in and get service. See, John's moving around, and that's good.
To wind the net down, meaning he's okay. That lets the corner workers know that he's okay.
Well, let's go back and take a look at what happened here. Going off into the corner.
Oh, boy. Well, it had already started by the time we picked it up. Andretti and Earnhardt both sideways there. Earnhardt hard in the wall.
Dick, I saw something else. Darrell Waltrip was in on that just a little bit. It looked like he and Earnhardt made a little contact getting off into turn 1 there.
Yeah, he's in the pits right now, and they're pushing Darrell Waltrip's car backward toward the garage area. Well, John Andretti missed the first 2. He sure got into the third one.
We'll take other looks at this and talk to the participants. Earnhardt getting from his car, Andretti having walked away from his, Darrell going to the garage under caution in Charlotte. Well, John Andretti's Pontiac heading back to the garage area. Ernie Irvin's there. Darrell Waltrip is there. Dale Earnhardt got out of the car, but looked like he was holding his shoulder, or like you might see a guy with a shoulder injury or something. But watch what happens, folks. We found a replay that tells the whole story. You'll get the overview right there as Waltrip went by, right, buddy?
See out of the back of Waltrip's car there, a lot of fluids coming out of the back of his car. That triggered this accident.
And the in-car camera that Dale Earnhardt is carrying for us. Watch this. This tells the whole story. Watch DW on the left.
The yellow car right there. See the fluids coming out of the back of the car. That triggers Earnhardt to spin, and Andretti got into the wall himself.
So problems with Darrell's power plant, putting fluid down on the track, and there's Dale going to the ambulance. That's how you kind of look when you have a shoulder problem, a shoulder blade, a separated shoulder, something like that. And now they're hauling Earnhardt's car back to the garage. And obviously, I'm not a doctor, but we've all watched enough sporting events to know what guys look like when they're walking like that. Steve Burns is with Darrell Waltrip. And Steve, I guess the picture told the story, huh?
Yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words, Darrell. You came down pit road, the hood went up, didn't hear anything under the hood.
No, you know, I told these boys, I said, build me a motor like that one I won here with an 85. But I forgot to tell them I had to run the whole race. So that's the deal. This thing, we were leaning on it real hard. It's that kind of race. You stretch everything to the limits, and we just stretched this one a little bit too far. And I'm sure of what happened to the guys behind me there's all kind of fluid come out of the car, and they got in it. So I hate it for the guys behind me, and the guys here on the Pennzoil car worked real hard, but wasn't meant to be tonight.
Guess one of the guys behind you was the boss man, Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, I know. He's probably not going to be happy about this. I think I'll go change clothes and go home.
That's Darrell Waltrip right there. The boss man illusion, of course, the car that Darrell drives is owned by Dale Earnhardt, normally driven by Steve Park, but Steve is recovering from injuries. And there's the ambulance taking John Andretti. You see there walking to the infield care center. Seems to be okay from the distant look we had there. So Ernie Irvin's done for the night. So's Darrell. So's Dale Earnhardt. So's John Andretti. 16 runners still out there with a lot of racing yet to go.
By Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, IndyCar, World of Outlaws, IRL, and a major sponsor of NHRA. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer needs at 800-800-1230. Radio communications are provided by Racing Radios. For all your business and racing communications needs, as well as scanners and frequency lists, call on Racing Radios at 1-800-669-1522.
Getting set to go back to green. Green flag in the air. Lap 9 is complete of this first 30-lap segment. We've already had 3 cautions.
Eli, look at Sterling Marlin in third there. He is flying around the bottom part of this racetrack as the two fight it out for the lead there. Mark Martin on the outside trying to get by Jeff Gordon.
Looked like Jeff was going to give him the outside if he wanted to take it. Didn't look like he was going to go up the banking and force the issue. Watch that green car. Bobby Labonte
on the outside.
Power move. Whoa. We have somebody else to talk about now. Bobby Labonte has got his foot in this 18 and moving forward.
Man, that's chassis and engine all working together for Bobby Labonte.
There's a former winner here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, his very first ever Winston Cup win came here in one of those 600 milers.
John Andretti's just come out of the infield care center, Matt.
Eli, he just walked out. John, first off, are you all right, and what happened?
I'm all right. Darrell blew up, and when he blew up, it's kind of like the same thing at California when I guess Dale Jarrett blew up. You know, we were right tucked up underneath the back of him, and Dale Earnhardt was on the outside of him, and I spun in Darrell's oil and hit Dale.
Tough break for John Andretti.
But fortunately, he was okay leaving the care center. We'll get an update on Dale Earnhardt's condition in just a moment or so. 11 laps of 30 complete. And there's Jeremy Mayfield now in 10th.
He's off the pace.
Problems for Jeremy. He was just making a move in 10th spot. And problems on the Mobile 1 Ford Taurus.
Bad break. Yeah. Under the green. I mean, this count.
That is what 4/10 of a second looks like. From the leader, Gordon, to second place, Martin. Another 4/10 back to Bobby Labonte in third.
No rush on Mayfield's car at all. They're not working on it. He's done.
Hoods up. Jeff Burton there in the 99 moving forward. Doing a great job tonight after not a great qualifying for this event.
Well, they had some problems trying to get down pit road with the back end of that thing jumping up and down. These guys are not really used to that kind of thing, coming down pit road flat out anymore, and a bunch of them did have trouble.
That's third and fourth. Bobby Labonte and Sterling Marlin. Richard Childress has now come out of the infield care center. Dale Earnhardt's car owner. Let's go back down there and get an update.
Richard just walked out. Richard, what's the update on Dale?
Well, you know, they're going to transport him to the hospital, and complaining real bad with his ribs and his chest, and he could have broke a rib or separated the cartilage or something. They won't know till they do the x-rays, but it's a tough deal.
Did he say what happened from his point of view?
No, we didn't talk about that. I was just more concerned about him, but from what I understand, maybe the one car blew up or something.
Well, tough break for Dale Earnhardt. You know, you don't want to joke about it, but this was the alien car from Darlington last year, a year and a half ago, and they had hoped that they kind of got the jinx out of it, but apparently not.
Now Jeff Burton, you see there in the 99, making the move around Michael Waltrip into the 11th spot. Jeff Gordon leads. Mark Martin is second. Bobby Labonte third. Sterling Marlin is fourth. Dale Jarrett fifth. Kenny Irwin now in sixth with Terry Labonte seventh. Rusty Wallace eighth. Bill Elliott ninth. There's 10th and 11th. Ricky Rudd in 10th. And the 11th man, 99, Jeff Burton, trying to get into the top 10.
Boy, that car in the middle part of the corner, Jeff Burton looks like he had two motors in the car the way it took off. I'm telling you, he's running right on the bottom of the racetrack, right on the white line, and moving away as he passes these cars.
Interesting story on Rudd's car. This is the 3rd year in a row he's driven this same car in the Winston. It's the one he won the pole with here in October of 1995.
Jeff Burton, remember, made a chassis adjustment when he came down pit road a short while ago, so they apparently have their team dialed in now. Meanwhile, Jeremy Mayfield done for the night. Let's go to the garage and hear from him.
And Jeremy, you guys won the Winston Open. You transferred, but here you are tonight. Disappointed?
Not really. You know, I'm a little bit, but not at all. I mean, these guys worked hard. We've done everything we set out to do. We done all we could do. I mean, we had a fast car in the Winston there. We're just kind of laying low, you know, because it took a while for this thing to get running. But, man, this Mobile 1.4 was tough tonight. Just something broke underneath, though. We're not sure what it was.
All right, maybe you can get him at the 600. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The 600 being the Coca-Cola 600. That's run at this very same racetrack 1 week from tomorrow. Up front, Jeff Gordon by 0.7 of a second leads Mark Martin. We're riding with Blacker and Jeff Gordon here on TNN Motorsports. 20 laps of 30 complete now in the first segment of the Winston, NASCAR's All-Star Race. The leader, Jeff Gordon. Mark Martin is second. Bobby Labonte is third. There you see the battles behind them. Fourth is right there on your screen. Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett. Kenny Irwin is sixth. Rusty Wallace seventh. Then Terry Labonte, Jeff Burton, and Bill Elliott. That's your top 10. Don't forget, folks, when this next 9 laps have come and gone, they're going to be bringing out this big roulette wheel that is going to be spun, and on that wheel are the numbers 3 through 12. And whatever number comes up, that's how many positions are going to be inverted to start the second segment. So it's not like the old days where everybody gets flip-flopped and the last shall be first. This year, there's going to spin. That might be third, might be 4, might be 7, might be 12 cars. It'll be inverted to begin the next segment of the Winston.
Well, that'll save all the guys from having to put on the brakes like they did last year and almost have wrecks trying to get in last place on that first segment so they could have a great start on the next.
And they also get a chance to work on those cars. They can fire 4 tires at them. They can make any adjustments that they want on the cars during that break.
Now there's 11th and 12th, Ricky Rudd and Michael Waltrip, and there'll be no more than 12 cars inverted. It'll be no fewer than 3, no more than 12. So right now, guys like Jeff Bodine, Bobby Hamilton, Rich Bickle, who are running 13th, 14th, and 15th, they would stay in those positions. Again, only 3 through 12 will be inverted. Only 15 are still running. Mayfield, Waltrip, Andretti, Earnhardt, and Irvin already done for the night.
And all those people you just mentioned, Eli, were in the pit area adjusting their cars during the prior caution flag. So they're doing the best they can, but so far they're not moving forward very well.
The next segment will again be 30 laps as here goes Dale Jarrett for 4th inside of Sterling Marlin.
Sterling fighting back on the outside. He realizes he can keep that car on the bottom side there. The air is trying to pull on the back part of the Jarrett car as you see him drop back in line there. The car is a little bit loose on the bottom part of the racetrack when you have a car on the outside to keep the fire belt all the way through the corner.
Chevy ahead of a Ford right there. Part of the ongoing storyline of NASCAR since the day Bill France settled at Daytona Beach. Car makes and models argued about by fans and competitors time immemorial.
Part of the fun of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course, interesting, guys. I mean, it's been different today, too, as you see Ricky Rudd and Waltrip going for 11th and 12th, still battling. The circumstances of which cars have been strongest have varied today, depending on time of day, temperature, and so on. But
Eli, it's so different from when the track is really hot and you lose traction. Look at this move for second place as Bobby Labonte takes over second for Mark Martin. I've been watching Mark's car. Very good getting in, loses just a little bit in the center part of the corner, but he's still got a good race car. He's waiting for this adjustment. When he makes the pit stop, he still has a good car.
By the way, if you're looking for Jeff Gordon ahead of these two guys, he's in his own area code. I mean, he's already better than 2 seconds ahead. There he is.
And watch how smooth he is on that wheel, buddy.
You can see it. He's looking in the mirror right now. He's on cruise control. You can watch when he turns into the corner. Watch his hands how still right here. Top of the wheel. He's going through the center part of the corner. Now watch how smooth when he starts off the corner. He brings his hands back down the straightaway. Very, very calm.
Not a lot of street cars handle that well.
Now, there's the spread. There goes Gordon out of your picture. And here comes the Labonte-Martin battle. That's 2 seconds, nearly 2.1 seconds.
Jarrett did try once to get that spot away from Sterling, but it looks like he's going to just set back there for the last lap or two.
You want to see what a gap is from second to first? You can see Labonte and
there you see second and third. And look way ahead. There's Jeff
Gordon going through the dog leg, down through the front straightaway, heading towards turn one, sweeps out wide, right back down to the bottom lane there. Pretty much he's giving it a little bit of movement as he sends right in the middle part of the corner there, but down the straightaway, this car is hooked up.
Now here they are coming towards the wrap-up of segment number 1. There's 4th and 5th place, Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett. Jarrett continuing to ride a little higher in that corner, as you see, than Sterling.
You know, Eli, in the past, we've watched guys make adjustments, though, and the fast car in the first segment sometimes has knocked the car on the second segment.
And they all necessarily will make adjustments, just firing 4 tires on those cars and filling the tank up with fuel. If that's all they do, that's a major adjustment.
And, of course, the caution now on the Speedway. Caution's on the Speedway, and this segment is done. Now, Buddy, you've been in these events. Gordon knows that he's not going to restart in front. He could be inverted back to 3rd. He could be 12th. What's he thinking?
He and Ray Evernham right now are orchestrating the second segment of this race. Where he starts, as good as that car is, has very little to do with the way he runs. Right now, they're talking about, okay, what do we do to this car to make it better? They're not concerned about where they restart.
Now, Jeff Gordon, by virtue of winning that first segment, has just now won $50,000. Second place, that'll be Bobby Labonte. He has won $15,000. And the third place finisher, Mark Martin, has won $7,500. That young man right there is happy, and so is that young man. He's $50,000 richer. And in a moment, they'll all come down pit road. The teams are able to make changes, and we'll find out about who gets inverted to where.
For those that just joined this program, do not adjust your set. Jeff Gordon's car does change colors as he goes through the lights here. It may look purple, it may look gold. It has a green tint to it.
I like the purplish look myself.
I like to see what's going to happen with every hot rod in America changing its paint scheme. I'll tell you what, this is something really special. I think you're going to see a lot of cars looking something like this.
The DuPont fellows very, very proud. They unveiled that car at Talladega Super Speedway on the Die Hard 500 weekend and showed us all the up-close look. And literally, as you move around the car, it does change colors. You see, now it just went from brown to purple.
Yeah.
It's pretty, though.
It really is. It's a neat deal. 30 laps in the books. Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and Mark Martin, the top 3. Then you've got Sterling Marlin 4th and Dale Jarrett 5th. And in just a moment or so, they'll be bringing out the big roulette wheel, and they'll spin it. We'll find out who gets inverted to where.
They can adjust.
Now, what are they likely to be doing here? How many adjustments, if any, will they make on any of these teams?
Well, they're changing left sides. You can see them filling the car up with fuel. And I haven't seen them put a wrench on that car yet.
There comes the roulette wheel, the no bull wheel that will be spun. Now, how many of you are sure it's going to end up at 12?
You know, you watch all this stuff, though. It's hard to be at the Winston without thinking of T. Wayne Robertson, who really thought up this race and has had so much to do with Winston's involvement in big league stock car racing. And before he passed away this spring, one of the things he wanted to do was to make the Winston a more competitive event. And ideas like these are very much his.
The president, the late president of Sports Marketing Enterprises of R.J. Reynolds. As a matter of fact, they announced here this week that they will honor him by naming the NASCAR Winston Cup Preview next January and every year thereafter as the T. Wayne Robertson Winston Cup Preview in Winston-Salem.
Furnished by Clement Chevy Max Sales. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MAX. Visit, experience, shop Simpson World, a racer and race fan superstore. Now open in Mooresville, North Carolina, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Torrance, California. For more information, call 1-800-71-RACIT or visit our website at www.simpsonraceproducts.com.
There is the spinning of the wheel. It is difficult for you folks to tell, but the number 4 is illuminated right now, and it's very difficult, I know, with the bright lights of the racetrack and all to see it, but they had the lights going around, and the number 4 has been illuminated, and that will mean that the front 4, Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Martin, and Marlin, will be inverted. And in just those amount of moments, 5 minutes and 49 seconds, will be set to go back racing with the front 4 inverted in their running order.
Well, that's going to be interesting. As well as Sterling Marlin has been running, he has not led yet tonight. We'll see what happens when he's got that lead.
Interesting, if you like to keep tabs, the segment 1 winner, in this case Jeff Gordon, but the segment 1 winner has won the Winston 5 times in the 11 races in which there has been a first segment. Remember, years ago the format was different, so in the 11 years that they've had a first segment, 5 times the winner of that first segment's gone on to win the event. Let's go back down to pit road.
Well, guys, I'm standing by Jeff Gordon here. We've got the order, as you said. It's they're going to invert 4. Jeff, pretty awesome performance there in that first segment, but a little bit of concern. What's going on under the hood here?
We had a little bit of a miss earlier in the day, and we thought we got rid of it, but it still has a little bit of a miss. I don't think it's anything that's really hurting the performance. It's just there, you know, on your mind.
Well, I heard you say on the radio before you came in for this pit stop to leave it like it was. I can't imagine changing much on that race car.
I'd hate to change anything. You know, you just never know what this next segment's going to be like. We're going to be in traffic, and you know, it's going to be a little bit different. I mean, we started 4th in that first segment, so I'm pretty happy about starting 4th, but I got Mark in front of me and Sterling and Bobby beside me. It's going to be a little bit tougher this time, I believe.
Well, so the rest of the field certainly hopes so, but so far things have gone Jeff Gordon's way. Can you imagine, guys, this car missing and running that well? Let's go down pit road.
And Glenn, Mark Martin sitting in his car. Mark, seems like you had a very strong race car. Doesn't look like the crew's doing a whole lot. Will you make any adjustments?
Yeah, we need to make a little bit of adjustment, but Eagle One Taurus is pretty loose there in that first session, and we believe maybe the track will tighten up a little bit, and we're making a slight adjustment, but car was good for a while, then it got loose. Maybe we'll get this thing a little bit better. If we do, we might have a race here.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Steve, the Miller Lite Ford was a little tight in the center of the corner. They had a camber adjustment and a chassis adjustment. Rusty, all set for the second segment?
Yeah, I think we're pretty set for the second segment. The car's a little tight, that first segment. So we put a little more camber to the right front, took a round bite out of it, and see what happens there.
What do you think about the last 10-lap shootout?
I'm thinking about it right now, what to do. I know we got to put tires on. I just don't know how many.
That's a strategy with Rusty Wallace, still figuring out what to do in that last 10-lap shootout here Saturday night, Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And remember, what we're talking about there is the fact that after this 30-lap segment, if you choose, you can come in for service and give up your track position, or you can stay out there if you'd like. We'll hear more about that as we're winding our way down towards the restart. 2:55 to go on the A1 steak sauce countdown clock. A1 steak sauce. The sizzle starts here at 2:45. The Charlotte Motor Speedway, awash in light. And in 35 seconds on the Midas countdown clock, we will be set to go back racing. Midas Auto Systems experts, a better system for you and your car. There is Michael Waltrip. Michael Waltrip and the Citgo folks waiting to get back to work. And it gives us a chance to bring you Glenn Jarrett and our driver profile for this evening.
We've talked about this before. You won that race. That's the only victory you have in Winston Cup racing. You won a lot of Busch races, but does it bother you at all that is your only NASCAR Winston Cup win?
Yeah, it bothers me a lot because, you know, in the early 90s, I can just think of so many races I had a chance to win, and it didn't bother me then that I wasn't winning them because I said I'll have more chances. But now lately, I haven't had as many chances. And so you have to have lots of opportunities in order to capitalize on them generally and get yourself in victory lane. It just hasn't worked out for us yet. You know, there's a lot of people in here that have won a race or two, and I wouldn't trade my career for theirs for anything. I think week in and week out, we're always there, close to where we need to be, and eventually with that type of performance, consistency, and that type of record, I'll get everything lined out and we'll win some races. I'm not worried about that, and like I said, there's a bunch of them that have won a couple, but that wouldn't matter to me. I want to win a lot. 1 or 2 won't matter.
That's our Home Depot driver profile of Michael Waltrip, brought to you by the Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning. We are getting set to begin segment number 2 of the Winston. Again, another 30 laps. Let's take a look at how the running order will shape up here. Remember, they inverted the top 4. So Sterling Marlin will lead Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte, and then Jeff Gordon. Then everybody else will stay in the order in which they finished that first segment. And as you see all of that, let's talk about something that happened earlier, buddy, and discuss how strategy plays out. We saw Jimmy Spencer earlier with those fresh tires really tear his way to the front. How much are these guys thinking about what they saw happen here at 7:15 or 7:30 tonight?
I would say the drivers and the crew chiefs have already said, look at the way that 23 is coming back up through there, and with the 10 lap shootout like they're having, there'll be some question marks on all these guys. Whether you give up that great track position just to go in and get 4 tires, but hey, that might be the difference. If you had 4 brand new tires, that might bring you from the back to the front in 10 laps.
It sure is going to stir it up, no question about that. Who will take 4 and be a little bit faster? Who is going to stick with what they had? Or is everybody going to try and take 4?
There you see cleanup in the middle of the back straightaway. And the lights are back on the safety car. They had hoped to get things cleaned up. Again, the AutoZone race analysis brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. And there you see how we'll be looking at segment number 2. And then the finishing order for the segment, as you see, will be how they start in segment 3, unless you make a pit stop and give up your track position. You saw that glass on the back straightaway, and that's why we are being delayed. The cleanup guys were getting rid of something there. I don't know exactly what came out onto the racetrack, but there was some glass there, and that's why we're delayed. These folks haven't sat all night, have they, Doctor?
I was kind of glad we saw 1 or 2 people sitting down in these shots, because most people have been doing just like these fans and standing up all night. And as the camera has panned around Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight, if it seems to you as if there are more suites and more seats here, there are. Like most Winston Cup racetracks, this place has been growing like crazy, and it seems as if every Winston is accompanied by yet more fans and more seats.
Just a wonderful evening, too. It's really turned out to be a nice, comfortable night. It was hot today. It was in the 90s.
It's great.
But now with the sun having set long ago, it's really become a very, very comfortable night here in the Queen City.
Now that we've talked about the people in the grandstand, Eli Gold himself was standing most of that first segment.
Yeah.
And tried to find his chair a while ago and thought he was going down there to join him.
That was a pirouette, what I did. But, yeah, I mean, you don't want to sit down through these kind of events. Some races you sit. This is one of those where you're just on your feet all evening and enjoying it as it unfolds. Again, the front 4 inverted, and only 15 of the 20 starters are still racing. Jeremy Mayfield is out, Darrell Waltrip, John Andretti, Dale Earnhardt, and Ernie Irvin. There is Rusty Wallace, one of our in-car cameras that is still taking it around the racetrack.
Interesting strategy on Rusty. You think of all the ways you can adjust a race car. He has chosen to change the camera on that thing and also around out of the back end. And he is an absolute genius at setting these cars up. We'll see how it works right now.
Green flag from Rodney Wise. Back at it. Sterling Marlin shows the way to turn 1. Mark Martin trying to show Sterling Marlin the way to turn 1.
Going down into turn 1, kind of hung out right now. This is not the preferred line, but he gets a good run as they head down towards the back straightaway.
Oh, trouble. Kenny Irwin Jr. and Kerry Labonte. They spin against the inside wall. Kenny Irwin Jr. and Labonte, who then comes back off the wall directly in front, I believe, of Bill Elliott. Yes, it is. Bill got right on the binders, and look at what
Terry's
Terry's
on fire.
got problems.
Big fire
time
out
problems.
the back. He's going to leave in a hurry.
Got to get out of there.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently the fuel line, or maybe the fuel cell itself, rupturing as he impacted that inside wall, and clearly you can see Terry's just fine.
Wow.
And Ricky Rudd going to the garage as well with problems. Oh, my.
Big fire.
Eli, the back of that car is almost torn off with Terry Labonte there, and what it did was jerk the front top part of the hoses off of the gas tank, and that was fuel that popped out of there.
Well, that's why they wear the good fire suits, the full helmets, the gloves, the shoes, and all the rest of it. It's just that kind of situation. You see him nodding them all right.
And he waves to the fans. Let's watch it again. It was in the middle of the field. Kenny Irwin Jr. and Terry, and let's see what else happened there.
Kenny Irwin Jr. on the outside there gets loose on the outside of Jarrett. Yep.
Rusty touched him. Boom. Yeah, Terry Labonte backed it in hard.
But the actual start of the wreck was the 28 on the outside of Jarrett.
Watch it again.
Sideways right there. Here's Rusty just skimming the front of the 28 car.
And watch the 10. You see Ricky Rudd going by to the high side. And I didn't see a problem for Ricky there, though he went right to the garage area as well.
Yeah, the nose of that thing was damaged.
Yeah, let's take another look here.
You see the 28 car get sideways right there. Here comes Terry with nowhere to go. They make contact.
Ricky got the back of Terry Labonte's car.
That's exactly what happened.
That's what happened.
Yep. Labonte got bowed down, and Ricky couldn't, and nailed him in the back end. Well, this is becoming a race of attrition.
My goodness, here's what Jeff Bodine saw. Ricky Rudd is in the garage area while Terry's car continues to smolder just a mite on the back straightaway. Let's go to the garage and hear from Ricky.
There is oil all over the car. Eli broke the oil cooler. Ricky, first off, are you okay?
Yeah, we didn't hit that hard. It just made a mess of the front end of the car. Couldn't see what happened. A bunch of them brake checked. They got together, and we're kind of a victim of circumstance.
A tough break. Did you learn anything tonight you can put forth the next week?
Well, we were real tight in the first segment. We loosened the car up. I think we would have been okay. I know we made improvements. Whether it was enough or not, I don't know. We missed it pretty good to start with. We needed to run again. I like to run that second segment. We just didn't get a chance to get going.
They can still crack a smile. Let's go to Steve Burns.
And Kenny Irwin sitting in the car. Kenny, you looked tough in the first segment. What happened?
I don't know. We were going to be good on the outside there, and I just must have got up a little too high and got loose. Other than that, I don't know. The car was good tonight. Texaco car run good. Just it's too bad we weren't around for the last 10 laps.
Your first experience in this race, what'd you think?
I think it's pretty exciting. I think everybody in the grandstands ought to like it. I know the drivers do.
All right, Kenny Irwin done for the evening.
We're going to be down to about 12 teams now is all that's left. Mayfield's already gone from earlier. Darrell Waltrip, John Andretti, Dale Earnhardt. Ernie Irvin went out early on lap 2. And now you've got to add to the list Terry Labonte, Ricky Rudd, and Kenny Irwin Jr. So the attrition rate getting a bit strong right now.
Well, Kenny Irwin Jr. was running in 6th place and trying to take 5th away from Jared on the outside there. And like he said, he didn't blame anyone else. That's a mark of a champion right there. He got up high, lost the car.
And make a note of it as we go to a commercial break that the 3 drivers, Earnhardt, Rudd, and Darrell Waltrip, who have been in every single one of the Winstons thus far, are among the drivers tonight already in the garage. Winnebago Industries, the official motor home of TNN. Stop by your local Winnebago or Itasca dealer now and see the new models available. For more information on the Winnebago Motorsports team, please call 1-800-643-4892, extension 2. Rusty Wallace is on the pit lane, and a lot of work, guys, on his race car.
Oh, you can see they're putting gray tape all over the nose section, right in the center part. There was a lot of damage. It actually curled the nose of the car up, and they had to go down the front fender there. You can see them smoothing the tape on the right-hand side of your screen there. They're trying to get this thing aerodynamic enough that it don't gather up a lot of air under the front where it won't turn going in the corner.
Scott Robinson's in there. Billy Woolburn's right at the front of the thing. Jeff Thousand, the crew working on it. Boy, they have gone through several rolls of tape. This is a big boo-boo.
And again, riding with Rusty, he's got a camera of ours. Here's how he just kind of nicked things with Terry Labonte. And actually,
there's the first nick.
That's the first. That's after the crash right there, where Dale Jarrett rode down and Rusty went into him. But back on the back straightaway, he'd also gotten a piece of the spinning Terry Labonte.
Again, it's the Jarrett thing that they're working on the most. That's the biggest problem. Look at the back end of Jarrett's car. He nailed him good.
Todd Parrott is the crew chief for Dale Jarrett. Let's see if we can get a word from him.
And Todd's looking at the monitor down here in their pit box. Todd, we heard a report that there might have been some damage to your car as a result of the altercation with the two.
Yeah, just I guess Rusty was looking to see if there was any damage on the right rear of our car and wasn't paying attention where he was going and running into the back end of us. Got the back bumper knocked up a little bit, so maybe a little bit of that air out underneath the back end a little quicker now will be better.
Any tires rubbing, anything like that?
No tires rubbing, everything's fine.
And he made a good point there. The damage is not on the part. You see the spoiler on the back of the trunk there. That is not damaged. So down where it's been up there should not hurt him that much.
Well, they're still handling track cleanup, so we're going to break away and take care of some business so we can bring you more of the racing action. We're live on TNN Motorsports. Coming right back. TNN Motorsports exclusive live coverage of the Winston NASCAR's All-Star Race is being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Chase Authentics. The authentic trackside apparel of NASCAR is now available at NASCAR specialty stores and leading department stores everywhere. Welcome back, everybody. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, Steve Burns. We are set to go back racing. We are one lap complete of the second 30-lap segment. Remember, again, the caution laps do not count. One lap is complete of that second 30-lapper, and then still that 10-lap shootout yet to go. We're back to green. Mark Martin to the inside, Bobby Labonte in the green car to the outside. Jarrett, nice opening inside move.
Yeah, he took it, didn't he?
Yep. Jeff Gordon got way up in the gray stuff there and very lucky to hold on to that race car. You see him on the outside of Jarrett as they go down there. Mark Martin looking on the inside of Bobby Labonte has taken the lead, but here comes Mark.
Mark Martin has the Eagle 1 colors to the straight with the lead.
Well, as promised all night, Mark Martin is very strong and expect the unexpected. This has been one of the more bizarre runnings of the Winston. So many crashes, so many stars out of this thing.
Watch Jeff Gordon right now. You see him running along there. He's going with Mark Martin, trying to get by Bobby Labonte down into turn 2. This 24 car of Jeff Gordon's is seriously fast. I'm telling you, that car is a rocket.
Of the 20 starters. Everybody else in the garage with all sorts of problems. Martin, Labonte, Gordon, Marlin, Jarrett. There goes Dale.
Yeah, maybe Jarrett Marlin in another lap or so.
Jeff Burton right behind in the 99. Jeff Bodine is 7th. Rusty Wallace 8th. Rich Bickle 9th. Bill Elliott. Waltrip right in there as well.
Jeff Burton in a 99. Every time we watch this car on Major Speedway, it gets better as the race goes along. The more laps he gets to run, the better that car runs. And I think Buddy Parrott has a great influence on making that car really good on long runs.
Buddy's also got a darn good driver. I'm sold on Jeff Burton. I really am.
Oh, yeah. That's the Texas car. He might well have won the race in Texas in that car had he not had a cut right front tire. Let a whole bunch of laps down there, 46 of them. This place is a lot like Texas. The car runs well in Texas. It ought to run well here and Atlanta as well.
Dale Jarrett, new car. Jeff Burton. The race leader, Mark Martin, with a new car. It works well tonight, which obviously it is. He plans to run it in the 600 next week. And there's a good scramble for 7th.
Even with the damage there, you can see the 2-car, Rusty Wallace, going by Jeff Bodine as they head down in turn 1. So aerodynamically, the car looks pretty good.
Rusty in 7th, Jeff Bodine in 8th, and that number 7 car.
Don't forget, when this segment began after that yellow flag, Rusty was all the way in the back because he had made a pit stop.
Front 2, meanwhile, have pulled away. Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon by 1 4/10 seconds have pulled away from Bobby Labonte.
Well, Jeff Gordon showed a lot of muscle before when he was out front, but right now they seem to be holding about the same interval. As you see, Jeff Gordon there coming off in 2nd place. Look at 3rd place. Bobby Labonte has dropped off the pace just a little bit.
Ford, Chevrolet, Pontiac. Yep, you're right. One of these brands has got a whole big advantage.
And there are the 12 drivers who are still running. Everybody else in the garage. Just joining us, Ernie Irvin with an accident. Darrell Waltrip, engine failure. Dale Earnhardt got out of the car okay, but he's gone to the hospital for a checkup in an accident. Same with John Andretti. Jeremy Mayfield with an engine problem. Terry Labonte in an accident. Ricky Rudd and Kenny Irwin Jr. all out with accidents. Now let's watch this good battle. Rich Bickle in the 98. Bobby Hamilton about rubbing his way through there. That's 11th and 12th.
I tell you what, one more paint job on either one of those cars, and we'd had a wreck just then. Bobby Hamilton fighting very hard with Rich Bickle, and you can see Bickle's not giving up anything without a fight.
Maybe he thought it was still Martinsville, huh?
Yeah. There's Michael Waltrip in the 21 being challenged by Bill Elliott in the 94. That's 9th and 10th. Eddie Wood was telling me from the Wood brothers in the 21 that they have changed the body on that car for this week. There's no really a rule in Winston Cup racing. There is in the NASCAR Busch Series as to how you can position that body. They moved it a couple of inches rearward. They moved the engine or the body back a couple of inches. I don't know if it's really impacting all that much. They wanted to try it here this weekend, buddy.
Well, it's a new concept. It's a new type of chassis and everything. You see Bill Elliott going under the car in the center part of the corner there. Down the straightaway, the 2 cars are pretty even, but Bill gets the edge as they go across the start-finishing line. But they're trying new things. They're not just looking at tonight. They're looking at making their program better for the whole year.
They're also sticking with some old things, too. Last night, Larry Cropland returned to be the jackman on that car. First time he's jacked a race car since he was hit on pit road here last year during the running of the 600-mile event. Long recovery for him. One of our guys, Jeff Probst, our pit road spotter, helped him out. He's an EMT. Long way back, but Larry Cropland is back, race and all, and we're happy to see him.
Sure was. Kind of emotional last night. We had a chance to visit with him and talk about his return. Glenn, what are you hearing strategy-wise? We're still 18 laps from the end of this segment, and then guys really got to roll the dice as to what they're going to do before segment 3. What are you hearing strategy-wise?
Eli, it's the first time in my life I've ever been around a bunch of crew guys that do about as much as I did, which is nothing. They don't really know what they want to do yet. They're kind of waiting and seeing, but I have to wonder, we're watching Dale Jarrett make another move on Sterling on that. I have to wonder if with all this attrition, if they might not change some strategy that they set. Now, instead of pitting and going to the back of the 20-car field, there's only a 12-car field out there. So it may change some guys' ideas about what they're going to do. All but 24 and 6 right now. You know, those 2 cars are good. They're probably not going to change those. The rest of them probably need an adjustment. I got a feeling you're going to see some guys come in and take a gamble that they can get back to the front.
That's a good point. And lining them up 2 by 2, you're only 6 rows back, really, if you're in last place.
Well, I'm not the authority by a long shot, but I'm thinking tires myself. With
we'll
just
all
12
find
cars
out.
left, yeah.
Mark Martin, though, continues to lead. He's got a half second on Jeff Gordon. And then Gordon has 2 3/10 seconds on Bobby Labonte in 3rd. Mark Martin continues to lead the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race. 11 laps remaining in the 2nd segment. 3rd place, though, is a good battle right there as Dale Jarrett just now gets around Bobby Labonte and takes over the 3rd spot. So Jarrett's in 3rd, Bobby Labonte drops back to 4th, and Sterling Marlin continues to run in 5th. We're now at lap 50. Mark Martin is the race leader. If you're entering the contest that we told you about earlier on our telecast, to take home a piece of the action sweepstakes, you want to write down on your entry blank that Mark Martin was leading 50 laps into the Winston. So mark that down for those of you who are participating, trying to take home a piece of the action.
Sterling's run so well all night long. But it will come down. It will very much come down to what they do at the break after the 60-lap mark and those last 10 laps.
Eli, this late in this run, I'm just looking at Mark Martin's times around the racetrack. He's averaging 172.988. Jeff Gordon, 172.860.
Right, so they're so very close. And Mark just a tick quicker. Martin has never won a Winston, by the way. If you're new to this race, heck, he's not even won a segment. Mark Martin has never even won a segment of the Winston over the years. In the 8 prior races of the Winston he's been in, he had a second place in 1993. That was the best he'd ever done.
Yeah, but he had a third in 1990, a fourth in 96. I mean, he's run well. He just hasn't won it so far.
Right. Jeff Bodine and Bill Elliott now heating up just a bit. There they are. Jeff in the 7th car is running an 8th, and Elliott is 9th. And we're with Jeff Bodine and the Phillips team.
It's an awesome-looking car there, Bill Elliott. I was just watching him go through the corner, and when he got in the center part of the corner, he was running so much faster than Bodine. He actually had to take the high line through the corner.
Boy, he's running tough tonight, I'll tell you, for a guy as banged up and beat up as he is to be running this well, this deep into the race.
You know, Bill said if we had a race last weekend, he wouldn't have been able to run.
Not at all. Not at all. He's got a brace on his finger. Both feet are messed up. I mean, he is definitely a hurting unit. Walked to the podium today to get his award for winning the pole, but it was a lumpy walk and a slow one at that for sure. We've got to admire him, though. We've sure got to admire him.
Bill Elliott is pounding away.
Well, this week he was out on the runway at his little airport in Dawsonville practicing pit stops.
Yep.
So he could get a good qualifying position for this event.
Elliott Field is on the map.
Really?
Yes, I've flown in there. I went to one of his we did TV show there, as a matter of fact, a few years ago, and flew into the Elliott Field. Little strip right there behind the race shop in Dawsonville.
Jeff Bodine's got a little wiggle to the back end of that thing, doesn't he? Going through the corners, a little bit loose in the tail end of the number 7 car, just ahead of Bill Elliott. Bodine in 8th spot, Elliott in 9th. This has been going on for a bunch of laps.
Only 3 laps away from the end of this segment now. And then we'll find out who's got the guts to make a stop and who's going to stay and hang on in track position for that $200,000 run to the finish.
I think the race is going to be won by who makes the right choice when they make. If they make a stop,
yeah,
I think that may be the key.
And remember, too, it's not like some events where you'll come back out onto the track where you are. Remember, again, if you make a stop, you give up track position. But with only 12 cars out there, maybe that's not the biggest problem.
We're overlooking one thing, though. The 12 that are out there are great race cars and great drivers.
Yeah.
So getting a spot out there, you really have to have a great car and a good combination.
We hope to have an update for you before we leave the air tonight about Dale Earnhardt. Again, he walked from his car, went to the ambulance, was taken to the hospital to check on either a rib or a chest or a shoulder injury. We haven't heard anything yet, but hopefully we will get a medical update from the folks here at Charlotte Motor Speedway before we leave the air tonight. Again, the good news was he climbed from the car and walked to the ambulance. There's the lead battle.
I think Mark's kind of eased off a little bit, or Jeff Gordon has picked up the intensity a little bit. You can see through his dogleg there, he has cut down on the lead that Mark Martin has.
About a half a second right now between those two cars.
59 laps complete. And the final lap of the second segment will be upcoming.
Well, the mechanics get to play now, don't they? And the crew chiefs.
Let's just see what they do. That's going to really be interesting to see whether they make a stop and give up track position. But with just 12 cars, I would have to have tires myself.
Yep, I bet a lot of them are going to have tires.
Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Jarrett will come across the line in that order to take home $50,000, $15,000, and $7,500 here in this second segment of the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race. So the caution on the Speedway. You see the lights flashing there on the wall, signifying the end of the segment. Now, Jeff Gordon, who won the first segment, had $50,000 there, takes home $15,000 more here. Mark Martin, who took home $7,500 in the first segment, takes home $50,000 in this one. So dollar figures beginning to add up right now, but the 200,000 is on the line at the end of this next 10 laps.
These pit stops are like normal yellow flag pit stops in any Winston Cup race. And a guy goes in and he gets out faster than somebody else, that's where he returns to the Speedway. So it would be an advantage to take 2 tires if he could make a faster pit stop, but he won't handle as well with 2 new ones as 4.
We're going to get an answer to all this because the pace car has them in tow down the back straightaway. When they come around, Eli, we won't be guessing anymore.
We won't.
Well, Mark Martin's pit's got the board out, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No. We've seen some of the best moves.
Oh, we've seen some guys fake right to the absolute tail end of pit road and then pull out and not do it. We'll see if Mark goes in and takes tires or whether he stays out. What's he going to do?
Well, he looks like he's down low and...
Pit road is still closed at this point. They have not opened up the pit lane, so they're going to keep everybody on the racetrack for now and bring them back to the stripe. So pit road is closed this time around, and there'll be a chance for the crew guys to think for another moment or so.
I would like to know what our crack pit reporters, what do they think the people are going to do?
Well, you saw there the 6 bunch. Here's Rusty's bunch. They all seem to be in position. Glenn, are they all going to come in, or is this just a big old game of fooled you?
Eli, I think they're all coming. I can't imagine putting 30 laps, 45 miles on a set of tires and then giving up that kind of advantage. Look back to the Winston Open, what Jimmy Spencer did when he came in, ducked in with just a few laps to go. Now, we got a 10-lap segment here. I think they got to all take tires. I feel like Dale Jarrett's coming in. He's real tight. Bobby Labonte's coming in. He wants some wedge out. The DuPont team for Jeff Gordon, they're on the wall. I think they're coming. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, Glenn, you're exactly right. We heard Mark Martin's team. Of course, Jimmy Funnick is the crew chief. Sounds like they're going to take 4 tires and make an air pressure adjustment. And let's check in now with Matt Yoakum. Matt?
Rusty Wallace, indeed, he's too going to come down pit road. Rusty says his car's still a little tight. Remember, they made some adjustments at the last break. It didn't really help the car that much. They're going to make a wedge adjustment this time, take on 4 tires at this juncture, and see if they can make a run to the finish.
Before the pit stops begin, let's tell you that an update from the University Medical Center tells us that Dale Earnhardt's been checked over with x-rays being taken on chest and rib questions that he had. He has called for his own personal helicopter, which he owns, to come pick him up there and take him home. We have not yet gotten word on what those x-rays say, but the x-rays were for possible chest and rib injuries. Everybody's on pit road. Everybody is pitting. Matt Yoakum, you're first.
Rusty Wallace hits his box. Billy Wilburn goes to work on the right front. And it looks like they're going to change 4 tires in the Miller Lite Ford. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. Now let's go to Steve Burns.
And Dale Jarrett's in. They're going to make a tire change. Sterling Marlin is also in. He came in 5th. They're changing right side tires. Now let's check in with Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, Steve, only right side tires for Jeff Gordon and Bobby Labonte. A wedge adjustment for Bobby Labonte. Gordon beats him out. Bobby Labonte second and Dale Jarrett third is the way I see it.
Here comes Mark Martin and everybody else now. And NASCAR will reconfirm exactly who crossed the exit line, whether it was Jarrett ahead of Labonte or Labonte ahead of Jarrett as they made their way down. There's the Rainbow Warriors.
Interesting strategy, huh?
Yeah.
2 tires rather than 4. Well, we'll see how good that chassis is and how well Jeff Gordon can hang on to it with those guys behind him with better rubber.
The final 10 laps of the Winston are coming up in just moments. Dale Jarrett does beat Bobby Labonte to the end of pit road. The restart order will be Gordon, Jarrett, and Bobby. Coming up tomorrow, we've got some great NHRA drag racing action for you. Last year at Englishtown, New Jersey, the underdogs were in charge, including the teenage sensation Kristen Powell, who won Top Fuel. Find out who'll win this year's Mopar Parts Nationals tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on TNN Motorsports. All right, cinch up the seatbelts. Grandma, take another heart medication. This is what we've all been waiting for all weekend.
Let me tell you, if you're a race car driver, this is what you pray for. A chance to run like these guys have got to run for this last 10 laps here.
Flat out, wide open from here. Of all the money on the line tonight, $678,000 in these last 10 laps.
Everybody is standing. Everybody looking on. Brooke Gordon waiting. The pressure is on.
He says Jarrett can win this thing.
If they are going to have to, they're going to have a clean start here. And if they have to abort the start because of somebody jumping, they won't do it till the drivers get out of turn 2. They don't want to stack up the whole field. Let's see if we have a clean start. 10 laps, $200,000 to win the All-Star race, the Winston. Ray Evernham, his job is done. Green flag. Gordon got a great start.
Sure did. Bobby Labonte goes by Jarrett to take over second.
Caution. Caution is coming out. Jeff Gordon apparently jumped the start. And we said they won't put a caution out until they exit turn 2. And the caution lights are on. The flag is waving. Apparently they're going to do another start.
Wow.
They're going to start them off even, says race director David Hoots. As we monitor the NASCAR radio in our ears up here in the booth, they say there's too much on the line. We're going to start them off even. And that's what we told you. If they abort the start, they were going to put the caution out, exiting turn 2 so as to not stack up the whole world.
You can see Ray Evernham right there talking with the NASCAR official right now. He's pleading his case.
Okay? The green was waving, just like they said in Daytona. Okay? It's the same thing. Thank you, sir.
NASCAR Tower just said, please thank the crew chief for telling your driver to just keep it in line. You heard the officials say, thank you, sir. You also heard the Hendrick team officials right there pleading their case.
Well, this is just like Saturday night stock car racing, isn't it? Any little short track, quarter mile, third mile, half mile in your neighborhood, this goes on every Saturday night. Look at the intensity on Ray, on Evernham's face. Oh, boy.
He's laughing, though. He's having a good time.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He's a racer.
They'll get the 1-to-go signal when they come to the stripe, so they'll have another lap to line up 2 by 2.
We got a report just in from Glenn Jarrett that they were trying to calm Jeff down. Ray Evernham's in great shape. Jeff Gordon was ready to go.
Robin Pemberton and Don Miller with Rusty Wallace team.
Hendrick and the whole Hendrick Motorsports group. Again, the restart moments ago. Here's what happened. Pace car pulls away. We don't, in this shot, see the green flag, but Gordon gets gone.
Well, a second restart does not help the flutter factor. I'll tell you what. Whoa.
You're exactly right.
And there again, Ray Evernham and the starting field set to go again. Martin and Gordon on the front row.
Anybody who's ever driven a race car knows what this is like. It is just absolutely nerve-wracking to go through a second start because the first one didn't go right.
I believe I said Martin there before. Obviously, you saw the correct running order there on the screen as Mark gets back in line and everybody reassumes their position on the restart here. Again, 10 laps to win it all. Remember, too, that Bill Elliott was saying earlier he might have the little problem with his transmission. Lights are back on atop the safety car. This time there's debris in turn 2 And the cleanup truck is right there, as you see, going out to pick up a bit of debris that was spotted in the number 2 corner.
Now that makes your kneecaps start jumping when this starts happening. Now these race horses are ready to go right now, and when they have to ride around and they make these adjustments to the track and all, that left knee will shake a little bit.
I love this.
Yeah, this is neat.
Yeah. There are all the dollars on the line.
But, you know, it's such a big deal to win this thing. I think these guys would run just as hard if there were $2 to win this thing instead of $200,000 to win it. Especially those guys right up front. Just love to win.
And we'll take a look at that replay of moments ago. We'll take a look here, and you'll see the light there in the lower left of your screen. You can still see the caution light there flashing up against the catch fence. So if you want to use the lights as an indicator, Jeff might have jumped a bit soon. But tough to tell on any event. We're doing it all over again.
Well, Jeff Gordon, early in the year in the Bud Shootout in Daytona, was leading right near the end of the race.
Right.
And got jumped just a little bit, maybe. We don't know for sure. But anyway, he wasn't getting jumped tonight.
No. Remember Rusty Wallace at Martinsville last year, right, as the leader, ruled to have jumped the start, brought him in the pits, and he lost the race. Here we go. Let's see if anybody's going to jump again, or if we're going to get it to happen.
These cars coming in.
10 laps to settle it all for $200,000 and the win in the All-Star event. Green flag. They're basically 2 by 2, but as they come to the stripe, Gordon's got a car lane lead.
The flagman shook his head. It was a good start. Jeff Gordon has a good lead coming off turn 1. And right now, Bobby Labonte has got by the 88 car there of Jarrett.
Jarrett now in 3rd with Labonte, the man in the middle. Riding with Jeff Bodine back in 8th.
See about all these horses in the back with all the fresh tires. So far, the guys with 2 tires are running away from them.
1 lap gone, 9 to go. Mr. Gordon has set sail.
Whoa, look at this.
Yep, it's Saturday night heat racing right now with 10 laps to go. 9 laps to go as we go down the back straightaway. The reason the front cars are breaking away right now is these guys are running side by side, trying to get to the front. When they run side by side, they're not as quick as cars in line.
You are exactly right. That's just what's happened. The front of the field with just those 2 fresh tires, off they go. They've lined up one behind the other, as opposed to the guys behind them who raced side by side.
MCI timing and scoring across the top of the screen, reminding you that 10, 3, 2, 1, the numbers to dial and save up to 50%.
Gordon, that last lap, 177 miles an hour, 2 miles an hour faster than Bobby Labonte in 2nd spot.
And the reason we're not showing you Jeff right now is because ain't nobody else near him, folks.
No, he's gone.
Nobody.
I'm going to tell you, that's got to be a wonderful feeling to have that much race car. And Jeff Gordon made no mistake about it. When they went back into high gear at 24, look at going down the back straightaway. You're riding with the leader of the Winston. Down into turn 3, you can see nothing in front of him but racetrack.
He's got 1 2/10 seconds on those behind him.
Why? Look at this. Look at this steering wheel, buddy.
Yeah, that's down the straightaway now. We've got to look at him earlier in the race, and his hands are virtually still through the corner. They still look pretty good, I'll tell you.
Turn right now.
Yeah, there it is. That'll do it right there.
That's hero material right there. Ray Everingham has to be proud. He's done a wonderful job of setting this car up for Jeff Gordon. And you know what? Every time you come to Charlotte, that 24 is out front.
Yep.
Only Davey Allison, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Gordon have won this event more than once. Earnhardt's won it 3 times. The late Davey Allison twice, Jeff Gordon twice. May well be thrice.
Yeah,
here in about 2.5 minutes time.
Yeah, and he's also won the Open. Boy, for a kid his age, he sure is rewriting the record book and putting his name all over it.
Jeff Bodine as a comparison now. He's got the challenge of Sterling Marlin on the inside. Watch Jeff's hands now in the turn.
You can see Jeff kind of giving a little tug there as he goes through the corner, and then coming off, he's trying to right the car. Not quite as smooth as the 24 Jeff Gordon, but still a good race car.
Good right there. That's what you want to be able to do.
Better at one end of the speedway than the other.
Yep.
4 laps to go, Eli.
Well, unless something happens to old Blacker. That's the car Blacker right there.
They ought to call that the Magic Blacker. That car has done things that other race cars, if you build one that ever even comes close to that, you would have to use it every chance you have.
Oh, he has. He's won, what, a dozen, 13 races with that thing?
You know, Bobby Labonte and those guys, they look like they're catching Jeff Gordon to me.
Maybe just by a tick of the clock. That's a good battle on the screen right there. Bill Elliott in the 94, Sterling Marlin in the 40. Second place is still good. Bobby Labonte ahead of Mark Martin. I asked Ray Evernham the other day, I said, why don't you bring one of the oldest cars in your stable?
Money maker.
Well, he said, it's a good car, he said, but if you end up getting into an accident, he said, I'd rather lose an old car than, for instance, our California car, as he put it. The car they ran a few weeks ago. Good second place battle here. Mark Martin says, if I can't catch Jeff, I'd better get more money here.
Mark Martin put 2 wheels below the white line there to get under Bobby Labonte and take over second spot. What a drive. Jeff Gordon happening.
Jeff Gordon has broken on the white flag lap. Jeff Gordon has broken on the white flag lap. They are racing for the win here in the Winston. They're racing for the win in the Winston. Mark Martin leads. Bobby Labonte is second. They are coming to the checkered flag.
Eli, I told you they were catching him. I noticed it. All of a sudden, Jeff Gordon was off.
Maybe the engine miss he talked about earlier has struck. Mark Martin wins his first career Winston.
Unbelievable.
Remarkable. And Jeff Gordon's car limping at maybe 20 miles an hour around the racetrack. Mark Martin has won, and Ray Evernham cannot believe what he's just seen. Glenn?
Well, we'll ask him, Ray. Did he say what happened?
Says it's acting like it ran out of gas, so I don't know. I find that hard to believe, but we'll have to find out.
Anything to do maybe with the miss that was going on?
Don't know. Really don't know exactly what happened there. Honestly, don't know.
Okay, thanks, guys. They're just mystified as we are. Unbelievable is the key word.
Holy cow. I mean, that's remarkable.
Well, we promised you before this show started that this is a race where you can expect the unexpected, and it looked like a runaway for Jeff Gordon. Last lap, the car just dies.
Mark Martin wins his first career Winston. We will talk to the principals. Don't you go away. What a night. Oh, glad you've shared it with us here on TNN Motorsports. Jeff Gordon, unbelieving as he heads to the hallway.
Okay. And we are back in victory lane at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mark Martin is climbing from his car victorious. A bizarre turn of events. There was no question that he had the and Mark falls on me. There was no question that he had the fastest car there with the 4 tires. But boy, you had a great car, but it didn't look like it was going to happen. Then wow, things turned your way, Mark.
Unfortunate for Jeff Gordon and those guys. They did the right thing. They had her won, and I don't know what happened to them, but we probably didn't do the right thing taking 4. But I was afraid if we took 2, we'd be the only ones, and then we would get beat. So we had a good car. We lucked out tonight. Gordon was strong, man, and they did all the right moves. He jumped out there and got way ahead. But I want to thank Eagle One, Valvoline Cummins, Ford Taurus, Goodyear Tires, Bugles, Bosch, all these guys that work on this car, because they're the ones that are doing it. My little buddy Matt finally got here.
Matt's in victory. Mark, we were watching you. You were reeling him in, but what went through your mind when you went by Jeff, when you saw him just slow all at once?
I saw him slow, and I knew, I'm pretty stupid because I forget a lot, but I knew it was a white flag, not the checkered flag, and I saw him slow at the white flag, and I said, oh, he's going to make a race. You know, he's going to let me catch up and make a show here. And he never started going again, and I couldn't believe it. I just, you know, tough break for those guys. They deserve to win it, but we'll take it.
But you won it, and along with that, a $257,500 payday.
Thanks, Winston. You guys are awesome, and thank all these race fans. Man, I don't know how many people were here tonight, but it was a bunch.
It certainly was, and they got to see a spectacular finish to the Winston. Once again, Mark Martin, his first Winston victory ever.
His wife Arlene there with him, and that's why better than 100,000 folks show up every time we run here. That Victory Lane celebration brought to you by the Money Store, appropriately enough, where you can refinance your home and consolidate your debts with just one phone call. Bobby Labonte came home in second. There he is.
And Eli came in second for the second year in a row. Now, Bobby, I've seen a lot of Winstons, but that was a wild one.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, you know, we didn't know how long it was going to last, but I looked at my watch there one time. It was getting pretty late there. They had one yellow, but you know, for us, you know, the whole interstate crew, we didn't roll off the truck yesterday very good, and worked on it, never gave up on it. Probably one of the greasiest days that we've had as far as working on the race car, and you know, they really hung in there, did a great job. The crew did a good job, you know, and you know, we came up second, and you know, should have really been third, but if Jeff hadn't run out of gas, that'd have been, or I guess whatever happened to him, would have been third. But to come home second 2 years in a row ain't bad. You know, I mean, we're awfully excited about that, and we had a good run and stayed out of trouble, and you know, we stayed in the top 3 or 4 all night long, it seemed like. So, you know, that gives us some confidence for next week.
Thanks, Bobby.
Okay, thanks.
Bobby Labonte finishing second. Buddy Baker, what a night, huh?
Eli, I don't want to speculate what happened, but if he did run out of gas, you know, that extra restart, that might have been the difference in winning the Winston. Not getting that start and having to go around the racetrack several times before the green come out could have been the difference.
Could well have been, and I dare say we'll hear more as we wrap up our coverage here in Charlotte this evening. Mark Martin wins the Winston. And folks, you could have knocked me over with a feather a couple of laps ago if you'd said that's how this one was going to end. We are not going away, albeit for just a moment or so. Stick around. We're back right after this. Welcome back. Mark Martin has won the Winston. And there is the First Plus Financial race summary. First Plus Financial. At First Plus, we're working first for you. Jeremy Mayfield advanced to the big show. And there you see the segment winner. So now the winner of segment 2 has won the Winston 3 times. Jeff Bodine in 94, Jeff Gordon in 95, and Mark Martin here in 1998. And now the Miller Pit Crew of the Race Award. Miller Lite reminding you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. It's also Glenn Jarrett time.
Okay, thanks, Eli. There's another really happy face in Victory Lane, and that belongs to crew chief Jimmy Fennig. Jimmy, on behalf of Miller Lite Beer and TNN, we present you with the Pit Crew Award, Pit Crew of the Race. What were your thoughts when you saw that 24 slope?
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. I was pretty happy because we kind of took 4, and maybe we should have took 2, and we didn't have enough time to get Jeff. But I'll tell you one thing. This Valvoline Cummins team is an awesome team. It's a championship team, and we've got a championship driver, so I think it's showing it this year.
All week long, or all weekend long, Jimmy, I've seen Mark at the top of the charts on the speed times. He's been one of the favorites. In fact, we had a little informal pool. I picked Mark to win the race. And did you guys have that kind of confidence, that kind of feeling coming into tonight?
Yeah, well, I thought all week long our car's been pretty good. We didn't practice much today because of the weather. It was pretty sunny and hot, so I don't know. We were pretty comfortable. I was surprised. We got a little loose the first session, and Jeff was really good. And then the second session we adjusted on it, and we got a little bit better. And I thought the result was pretty good.
One more quick question. Was that call for 4 yours or Mark's?
I'll take the blame for that one.
Well, he's taking the blame, and he can also take a lot of credit there in Victory Lane. Congratulations, Jimmy.
Well done, Jimmy Fennig and the crew. What a finish. What a finish. More coming up from Charlotte after this. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, is being brought to you by Eagle One A to Z Wheel Cleaner. Spray on, hose off, towel dry. Easy as 1, 2, 3. By MCI, the official telecommunications company of NASCAR. And by Midas. For quality service, visit your neighborhood Midas today. Well, the celebration in Victory Lane continues, but we've been hanging around until Jeff Gordon changed clothes. We weren't going to leave before we let you hear from the driver of the DuPont car. Matt Yoakum is in amongst all of those folks.
Well, Eli, he just came out of the truck. Jeff, any idea what happened? Did it run out of gas?
I guess it did. We're still not exactly sure. It certainly acted like it ran out of gas. Fuel pump, or, fuel pressure went down. I was praying that it was a broken fuel pump, because I'd much rather something break than us make a mistake. And it's unfortunate. I tell you what, I want to thank DuPont Automotive Finishes and Chrome Illusion. That was an awesome looking car, and it ran as good as it looked. And sorry we couldn't bring it home for him.
When did you have an idea there was a problem?
Well, they told me 2 to go, and I wasn't exactly sure what they said, because, I couldn't exactly hear real clear on my radio. And when I came down, I come off of 4, and I felt it start to sputter. And I was like, please be the checkered, please be the checkered. And it was the white, and I looked up, and I saw Mark coming, and I said, well, it's all yours, Mark. And he was fast. He ran a great race, and, we made that 2-tire stop. We knew we were going to make a 2-tire stop. It was a great call, great race car, and unfortunately, we just had our problems.
Well, Blacker gave him a great run, just wasn't the finish, and payday. He won it. Eli?
Quite a storyline today. Mark Martin's name is on the big check, but Jeff Gordon's looking ahead to next weekend. There are the unofficial results of the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race. Mark Martin, the race winner, led 31 laps of the 70. Jeff Gordon, who, as you see, came home 12th. That was the last car running at the finish. Jeff led 36 laps tonight. Terry Labonte, who finished 14th, led the other 3 laps. Jeff Gordon, this is what happened as he ran the fuel tank dry.
Listen, he just switched on the dashboard thinking he's got a problem, and that might help.
What did he reach for there, buddy? The alternator switch, maybe thinking it was an electrical?
Yeah, he was taking no chances in case it was electrical, but you can hear it now. It's trying to die on him, the sputter.
You've heard that, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Listen to this, everybody. Right here, it quits.
Picked up a touch of fuel, then he shut her on down and took it on the rest of the way. More from Charlotte as we wrap up our coverage on TNN Motorsports. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Winston, NASCAR's all-star race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, has been brought to you by Texaco. Texaco, a world of energy. By AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. By Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. And by First Plus Financial. At First Plus, you don't need equity, you just need a home. Well, the celebration continues in Victory Lane, and everybody here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, we're still kind of catching our breath. Buddy Baker enjoyed it. Dick Berggren, as always, a fine job. Great job down on the pit lane. Glenn Jarrett, Steve Burns, Matt Yoakum. This is the IRL. Part 2 is coming up in progress here on TNN Motorsports. Jeff Gordon runs out of fuel on the last lap. The champagne belongs to Mark Martin. I'm Eli Gold. Good night from Charlotte.
TNN, America's country home, is a service of CBS Cable.